confused. You feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on. Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news. Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hunt.
Ramon, it wasn't a technical difficulty. A lot of people hadn't seen it before, so I was making sure everyone got the intro. And there's some other Easter eggs throughout than this one. This wasn't the old one as well. This isn't the old one as well. So, yeah, no technical difficulties.
Just to make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree. Stop offering me. 'Cause I'm everything you want. Damn, show what you need. I won't tell no lies. Back up on the facts we true. And if you
Olivia says you make me happy.
get down with that more fucked up than the lies on the evening news. Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree. Stop offering me. 'Cause I'm everything you want. Damn, show what you need. I won't tell no lies. Back up on the facts we true. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's new.
Hey, Hogs Twins here. Check out our friend Matthew Spirit at his podcast at the DUM Show and his website. Yeah, don'tunfriendme.com. Yeah.
It's Red Friday, RED Friday, which stands for Remember Everyone Deployed. A movement designed to honor veterans and deployed U.S. troops by wearing a red shirt every Friday. As simple as that may be, Red Friday is a great way to back those who serve our country. Go to DUMShow.com and search for Red Friday to get your red on.
Oh, these commercials on Friday.
Good morning, Don't Unfriend Me Nation. What are we doing?
Holy moly. I mean, who does the programming for this show? My Lord. How many commercials are we going to have? Do we have anything for like Massengale or Tampax or anything to throw out there for your side of the fence, Liv?
I couldn't get Dylan Mulvaney on the phone, so unfortunately no Tampax here.
Yeah, we should get Dylan on the phone. Maybe he'll do our Red Friday shards. Good morning, girls. Hello, everybody. It's Red Friday, and I don't mean that other type of red that I don't have, but I pretend I do. Red Friday. Oh, yeah, I think it'd be great. Just wonder go see if Dylan's available. I've heard he's out of the country. I'm sure he has some time. He fled the United States because he didn't feel safe. Nobody cares, Dylan. Seriously, this guy's gonna... Did Ramon say fuck it all?
Yeah.
Jeez Louise, we're starting early.
Isaac said he likes the new intro, just needs a Bigfoot.
No, Isaac, no Bigfoot. What? I like the new intro,
What is
too.
up with the Bigfoots? I like it because I'm in it.
You know, it's funny. Buddy Mike came over and he showed him. He's like, dude, did you do that? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you're going to be rich. You got to love Mike. I'm like, thanks, buddy.
I love Mike.
Mike's a good man. What's going on, everybody? Listen, I've got Nikki Haley paused. And this is the GOP Iowa convention. Right now, Tim Scott's on. And I think it would behoove us to watch Nikki Haley just at least a little bit so we can have some comparative contrast on everybody's disposition and their stage presence. You know, I'm interested to see. So let's watch it. I mean, I hope you're all excited about it. We've got quite a few people.
Can I say something?
Oh, yeah.
Real
Wait,
quick?
what did I say? Sure.
Shout out to Rumble. Only 9 more followers to get to 1,000.
Come on, people. If you're not over on Rumble, go over to here. You know what? I'll just keep playing this until we hit it.
Good morning, Don't Unfriend Me Nation. What are we doing?
People are missing the new intro. You're going to have to play it again at some point soon.
They missed the new intro?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I can fix that, can't I? I mean, all I've got to do is say, uno, dos, tres, cuatro. What the? Whoa. Ethan, come here. Why are you smiling when you don't feel good? I like your new robe. Do you want to show everybody your new robe? Come on over here. Come here, Jedi. We finally got him a gamer robe, you know, manly. He was wearing the pink bunny thing from Christmas Story, so we had to get him this instead. Pound it out, G. I love you, buddy. Good night.
buddy. Love you.
Hey, you going to bed? No. All right, well, pop smoke early, dude. Don't stay up all night. What do you mean, Roman? What he's like, not again. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, again. Here you go, just for you, buddy. It's 1 minute and 40 seconds. It's like your sex life. Hang in there.
It's a good. I like this song. Upbeat.
Nice, Greg.
You feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news. But just step right in. We can talk about.
See, if I stop it right here, Olivia's going to get upset because she's actually in it. So I got to play Olivia. And then I got to do the ending because, like, my endorsements are there. So we're going to do this one more last time. Come on. It's like 45 seconds. You can handle it.
And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, stop offering me. 'Cause I'm everything you want, damn show what you need. I won't tell no lies, back up on the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's dog.
Oh, yeah. And join Rumble.
Yes.
Get that done. Dude, Colleen finally put up a profile pic. So now we can know what she looks like. Oh, my God, Colleen, you're like regal pretty. Like Lana Turner when she got older. Or Ingrid Bergman.
Yeah, I'm trying
Very
to think of
pretty,
who she looks
Colleen.
like.
Very pretty lady. You're timeless. You're absolutely timeless.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see, I didn't even say anything about drinking this time, so I know I'm doing it right. See, I give Colleen a hard time. She's
Smacking from
you don't get a compliment without me, giving you a little oomph too. I don't know how to do that. It's one of my inequities, folks. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. They said he took out some of the video you showed because of Black Lives Matter. That's not true. So. I want to be clear. The one thing about Jason Aldean is he did not take footage out because it was BLM. He took footage out because of a few things. One is that there's a thing called fair use. And fair use would mean that they could take a certain clip of Olivia and I having a conversation, 20 minutes even, as long as they add original content over the top of it and don't alter it, right? They can't cut it and splice it in a way that is defaming to the person. That's fair use. Most things, especially from a news agency, they can repurpose without paying anybody. Where it gets a little tricky is that when it's assigned to an individual's account, then it becomes IP. So if somebody puts that on Facebook, it's the creative property of that person because Facebook and stuff don't have that. So if there's any footage that I take with my phone and I go ahead and claim it, everyone has to pay me royalties in order to use that. And you usually go through a distribution company. There's a bunch of them and they all suck because I get to fight with them all the time and I usually win because my lawyers are better than theirs. The second thing is with fair use is that you can go. It's really kind of picky when it comes to using content that doesn't have a group of people in it doing something wrong, doing something nefarious. Like, for instance, a lot of the times when you see people running over the border, they blur out everybody's faces, even though they're not American citizens, because it's an illegal activity. You might see a fight or something done by the police, and they'll go ahead and block out innocent bystanders because they don't want them associated with the crime. The point is that there's BLM people in a very small, insignificant amount of the video, but that was owned by the news media. And the news media said that it didn't go ahead and comply with fair rights, and it was copyrighted due to the fact that not everyone there signed a writ of release for their consent to be recorded and redistributed. In order for him to do that, they would have to track down each person involved, give them payment for that, and that's a big mess. So what he did is he clipped it out and took it out, and that is not the same thing as removing BLM footage. Now, the whole reason why they didn't use American footage to begin with was for this very reason. They used Ukraine and Canada, which is completely different than U.S. law. So therefore, that little segment that they did use, some clever lawyer, doghouse lawyer, got it up their yin-yang and decided to go after the production company, and they removed it. That is not the same thing as removing it because he's weak on BLM. We have a responsibility to protect people who didn't do anything wrong. We have a responsibility to tell the truth, and there's your truth. Okay? Outstanding. All right, let's get to it, folks. We got a lot to do. We've got a lot of Republicans to watch. Olivia, did you have anything else that you wanted to? What are you playing with down there? Are you okay?
I'm playing with my headphone cord. It tangles up and then it gets heavy and it pulls on me, so I have to untangle it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Is that a cable in your pocket, or are you happy to see me?
That would be your line, dear.
That's true. Well, in this day and age, we never know. We just don't know. All right, folks. Nikki Haley's on stage. We're a little bit behind. When Donald Trump comes on, I may just switch and just bail, depending upon how you guys are doing with your engagement. Let's listen. It's important to get a broad spectrum. This is the GOP caucus. This is important. This is going to decide really where the front runners are and where they're going to be headed. So let's go ahead and watch. If you have questions, let me know. By the way, it's Red Friday. We know that. And Merry Christmas. Here it is. I know. I'm switching audio. Hold on. Switching audio.
Out there.
There it is.
Instead of 87,000 IRS agents, let's go after the hundreds of billions of dollars of COVID fraud that exist.
I don't know anything about the farmer. I don't know anything about it. But once again, I've already done the Jason Aldean thing. We'll look it up. Olivia, find out why they removed the farmer from Jason Aldean's video. I don't know. Maybe he didn't have rights to that either. I don't know.
If 8% of our budget is interest, quit borrowing, cut up the credit cards. Republicans and Democrats have a spending addiction in D.C.
Ooh, that's
when it
good.
comes to education, do what your great Governor Kim Reynolds did. Let's make sure our kids can read by the...
Hey, Squall, I don't give a crap. I won't put on Donald Trump just on purpose. Every single Republican who's running and conservative has every right to be heard. So you're barking up the wrong tree. How do you know? She might say something you like. And if she has no possibility of saying something even remotely that you like, then maybe you're not a conservative. Because I will tell you this, at least Nikki Haley's comments tonight were the most conservative that I heard on stage. Hutchinson sounded absolutely like a neocon. I'm pretty confident I know what DeSantis is going to say. And of course, Donald Trump will spend a lot of time talking about the indictment and things, and we'll be lucky to get some policy. Let's see if we do. I'll be excited to hear it. And he's very conservative and a Republican when he actually talks policy. But I don't hold my breath anymore. Usually it's just about stuff about him. We'll find out.
Let's have complete...
I got answer. The footage in Jason Aldean's video was taken out due to third-party copyright clearance issues. So there you go. Okay.
Squall, I don't know what you're talking about barking. I didn't compare you to a dog. The second thing is I have looked at her numbers, and I also looked that Jeb Bush was in the lead in 2016, and he was the honorary Republican nominee, and nobody stood a chance. So if you think that these numbers won't change, if you think they won't lessen, if you think the gap will not continue to tighten, then you've never watched a political race of this magnitude. So I would encourage you. You can sit here and argue. I'm not your cable provider. I will put Trump on. I have no problem doing that, but we're going to go ahead and watch a few other people at the same time because I actually care. So Thanks. You can either sit there and continue to do what you are doing now, which is drawing attention to yourself, or we can press play. Which one would you like? Great, play.
Transparency in the classroom, and let's let parents decide where their kids should go to school. When it comes to the border, we'll do what we did in South Carolina, but we'll take it national. We'll do a national E-Verify program. We'll put 25,000 Border Patrol and ICE agents on the ground and let them do their job. We'll defund sanctuary cities, and instead of catch and release, we'll go to catch and deport. So we have the answers of what we need. But look at all of those issues, and D.C. hasn't handled any of them. That's why we have to have term limits in D.C. once and for all. And if this week didn't prove it to you, we've got to have mental competency tests for anyone over the age of 75.
This one's not too popular.
That's not being disrespectful. These are people who are making decisions on our national security. They're making decisions on our...
Yeah, and you're addressing 3/4 of your base. So not a good idea. Either a person who's voting for you has a family member over 75 or they're over 75 themselves. So that's not the smartest thing to say. There's
Did
another.
she say people shouldn't vote over the age of 75?
No.
Okay.
She said she should have cognitive tests. And what I would do is she could have changed that. I would ensure that people are in a good state of mind, right? So it's a little nuance, but it does change things. And then the funny thing is she's up here, I'm assuming, I saw her do this earlier about a week ago, where she tried to explain the cognitive test and she stumbled all over it, which made her look ridiculous.
Economic policy. These aren't tough tests. This is, you say the word that matches, you say, tell me 4 words that start with the letter.
Didn't get any better this week. Oh my gosh. If you can't explain the test, how are people supposed to take it? I'm confused, and I'm a pretty sharp tack.
A, what town were you born in? How many grandchildren do you have?
That was good. Little Joe Biden. They finally put out a statement. They're recognizing their grandchild now. I don't know what's changed. Maybe a bunch of stuff coming down the hill.
What? I don't know what y'all are laughing at.
Yeah, that's funny. That's canned, but funny.
We
Good.
need to start getting D.C. in order. But Biden has proven to be incredibly weak, and Kamala is not up for the job. And I will continue to say a vote for Joe Biden is a vote for Kamala Harris. That's who we're actually running against. We
That's
have
good.
to make sure she doesn't win. And when you look at our national security, look at the fact that we've got a Chinese spy balloon going over our country. You've got Russia invading Ukraine. You've got China on the march. You've got North Korea testing ballistic missiles and Iran building a bomb. But none of that would have happened had we not had that debacle in Afghanistan.
What?
My husband's a combat veteran.
What?
He
Wait,
deployed
what?
to Afghanistan. The idea that we left Bagram Air Force Base in the middle of the night without telling our allies who stood shoulder to shoulder with us for decades because we asked them to be there. Think about what that told our friends. More important.
Yeah. So China's not on the march. I don't know where there's no troop movements in China. Yes, their naval fleet is scrambling, but this always happens, especially when there's Taiwanese Straits drills that happen every single year at this time with Australia, the United States, the United Kingdom, and India. So I'm not going to sit here and go ahead and lend credence to that. Iran's been building a bomb a hell of a lot longer than us giving up Bagram Air Base. I'm not going to sit here and say that Joe Biden hasn't made these things a hell of a lot more dangerous than they were. I would agree with her there, but to sit here and say that those are linked to Afghanistan and Bagram Air Base, I disagree. But that's really all. She gets a little neocon-y for me. She gets a little war hawk, Hillary Clinton-like. And the one thing I've noticed about all the Republicans, all of them are talking about conflicts, and that frustrates me. I want to see if Trump does. I want to see if DeSantis does. That would be interesting to me. But every other Republican, including Tim Scott, we're all about the 4 hot spots. And I think that's fine. But you should also be careful of your rhetoric because it makes you sound like a war hawk, and we don't like that stuff.
Importantly, think about what that told our enemies. And when you look at China and the threat that they are, they're literally infiltrating our country. They have been planning war with us for years. We've got to snap out of it. And Biden's not the one to do it. So while we have those issues, we know how to fix this. Do you remember when you were growing up? How simple
I don't.
life
I haven't taken a cognitive test. How about you, Liv?
was? How safe it felt? It was about faith, family, and country. Your parents raised you to be a responsible individual. You went to school and you learned what it meant to be successful. You went to church and you found your faith and your conscience. Don't you want that again? Because we could have that again. You know, 3 weeks ago, I dropped my husband off for another year-long deployment. And I watched him and 230 soldiers pick up their 2 duffel bags and load a bus to go to a country they'd never been, all in the name of defending and protecting America.
There you go, sister.
They were
That's how you
willing
do
to
it.
sacrifice their lives.
That's how you do it. Better. Personal examples relate to the people. Seriously?
They're willing to sacrifice their lives and their families because they still believe in this amazing experiment that is America. So if they're willing to fight for us there, we should be willing to fight for
us here?
America here.
Formulaic, but good.
But
Hey,
in
Squall,
order to
nobody's
do
getting
that,
their
it's gonna
feelings hurt
take a
because you're
lot
the
of
one who's taking your
courage.
football and going home there, sexy pants. So we're still here. I watched it earlier too, but you know what's great? I can always watch something twice, so I understand where I'm at. Donald Trump isn't even on yet, dude. So you're salivating in your crybaby attitude. It's not necessary, dude. I don't know why you're being like that. You know, it's ridiculous. Donald Trump's not even on yet. I'm watching it right now. So relax, bro. Chill.
Courage for me to run, and courage for every one of you to remember, don't complain about what we get in a general election if you don't play in this caucus. It matters. Someone asked me why I was running, and I said my parents came here 50 years ago to
It's a
an
good point,
America
Matt.
that was
I agree with you,
strong
buddy.
and proud and full of opportunities. I want them to know that country again. I'm doing this for my husband, Michael, and his military brothers and sisters because they need to know their sacrifice means something. They need to know that we do.
Squall's melting down, dude. You're not being polite. You're being a crybaby, dude. Just stick around, bro. It's going to be over in 20 minutes and Trump's going to be on and we get to have a good time. If you only want to listen to Trump, dude, I'm sorry, bro. That's not what I do. It's not what it's about. This is a political election based upon multiple candidates. And I'm not fully decided yet. There's a lot of people who aren't because honestly, Trump still hasn't rolled out a proposal that's not on his website. I want to hear him articulate it. So, dude, you can call me all the names you want. Ultimately, it doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that you're being a petulant little punk. Just knock it off, dude. Just watch the show, please.
Love our country. I'm doing this for my daughter who just got married, and I saw how hard it was for her and her husband to buy a home. And I'm doing this for my son because I have watched how hard it is for him in the fact that he's having to write papers of things he doesn't believe in just to get an A.
Ooh, that's a good
not
line.
us. That's not America. And now 78.
Squall, I got a box of Kleenex for you. It's right there, buddy. Just go ahead and reach out on the screen and grab one and just wipe that over your vagina and you're going to be just fine.
Do you know how many people tell you to write a book?
I should write a book.
You
Ultra
totally
MAGA.
should
guy.
write a book.
Ultra MAGA what?
Percent of
Is that a new laundry detergent? Ultra MAGA gets stains deep out of your ass.
Americans say that they don't think their kids are going to live as good of a life as we did. We can't be okay with that. I'm not okay with that. We have a country to save. But if we pull together, if we commit, and we remember that even on our worst day, we're blessed to live in America, I promise you, our best days are yet to come. So join me, go to NikkiHaley.com, and let's make sure we save our country once and for all. God bless you. Thank you so much.
So I got to give her credit. She sounds genuine. I thought the end of the speech was strong, especially when she made the comment in regards to her husband in Afghanistan deployed for a year. I think every single person who has a military veteran as a spouse felt that in their heart, but also people who are civilians thought about that. Oh my God, could I be away from my spouse for a year? Hutchinson's a neocon war hawk. We'll listen to him in a minute. I also like the fact of what she said, that my son is writing papers that in order to get an A that he doesn't agree with. That's incredible. It's just incredibly insightful to sum up just the level of fear that people have to actually speak their mind, especially in school. Liv, was there something that you were like, oh, that stood out to me? Anything at all?
No, I mean, her bringing up her husband being deployed, and like you said, how hard it was for her daughter to buy a home, and then how her son's writing the papers he doesn't believe in. Those were the things that stood out to me. Similar
to what I thought of. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, because I think that was, and I want to be careful when I call her a neocon. She comes from her geopolitical perspective, right? I mean, that's what she did. She was an ambassador of the UN. So she's going to have to bring world events and geopolitical situations to the forefront because those are her strengths. So I want to be careful calling her a neocon. I just want to be talking about Chinese troop movements and Iran building a bomb when that had nothing to do with Afghanistan. It makes her look naive, and it makes her look like she's coattailing veterans. But then with that follow-up story, that's where she should have been. She should have, pointed out, listen, there's hot spots all over the world: China, Iran, Russia, Ukraine. Hell, even the next major war, like Middle East and like Indochina, is going to be Africa, and we have to prepare for that. And Russia and China and Iran are buying property in Africa and military bases at a rapid clip, and we need to be getting involved in that now. So her saying that is a lot different because it comes from a preventive standpoint versus more of a globalist standpoint, and that would have been strong, but whatever. Everyone knows I like Nikki Haley. I do. I don't think she's president material. I do see her as a strong vice president that gets Trump elected if he decides to pick her, or whoever the Republican nominee is. I truly believe if the Republicans stand a chance in this election, they have to get Michigan, they have to get Wisconsin, they have to get Georgia, and the only way you're going to do that is get the woman's vote. And the only way to get the woman's vote, unfortunately, is to have a woman up there. That's just the way it's going to be.
What nationality is she?
She's, oh God, she's not, she's Indian? No.
She doesn't look,
no,
she looks Italian.
Hold on, I got it in my head. Hold on. She's not Palestinian. She's, it's not Egyptian. What the hell is she? Look it up. Mm-hmm. Gosh, I know it. I know this. I just talked about her and did a full show on her. Why can't I remember? Find it for me. I don't want to listen to Hutchinson. Do we have to listen to Hutchinson? Yeah, we do. We got to be fair. Here's Hutchinson while Olivia looks that up. Do you have it yet?
I'm looking.
She's Indian. I think she's Indian, honey. Look it up.
I'm looking.
I want to say she's not Egyptian. She's not PLO and Palestinian.
India.
That's right. Okay. See? I knew it. First one. Nikki, did somebody say Carrie Lake? Oh, God. We want to win, right? Yeah, Carrie Lake is not gonna be on the ticket. Sorry. And if she is, it's gonna be a crash and burn. We will completely lose. We will lose 40 states. I'm sorry. There's no way. You put Carrie Lake on the ticket, it's over. I'm just saying. She can't even win as governor.
It's a serious time because we have an economy that is struggling. And this last week, they announced that we're going to have higher interest rates that impacts your pocketbook, your mortgage payment, your ability of your children to buy their first home. And so we have to get the economy back on track. It's a result of too much spending by the Biden administration. This administration has given us a weak energy policy in which they put all green above all of the above in energy sources. We need to reverse that.
No, don't ban people. Don't ban trolls. I'm not going to get into these long, drawn-out debates anymore. I'm going to stay focused, but I'm going to address people. I think Squall's a fine guy. I don't know what's up his behind tonight, but whatever. It is what it is.
I'm cracking up about all of these personal Trump things. Did he buy out all of the ad space for this?
Oh, yeah. Well, they always do. They always pump Trump because they make money. I mean, a Trump knife. I mean, that is a POS knife. At least do Gerber or Spyderco or CRKT or something. It's a decent knife. Hutchinson's a clown. Yeah, I see Mike Pence on right now. We know what Mike Pence is going to bring.
Yes, they've given us, with our help, a $32 trillion debt that we're looking at leaving to our children and to our grandchildren. Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I think Carrie Lake has a ton of backbone, but that's not what's needed. They're going to need someone to soften up Trump's delivery, and Mike Pence did that masterfully. Carrie Lake is not. No, Carrie Lake and Donald Trump will literally have a coup d'etat with each other.
Yeah, Carrie Lake is Trump in female form.
Totally. It would not work. No, you can't have two Trumps on the ticket. I'm sorry. It would be the most disastrous ticket we've ever seen in history. And please don't say Candace Owens. I don't know what's wrong with people. Stop it.
These are serious times in which we live.
There's more than 2 women on the planet.
And they're serious also because of the threats abroad that we see. From China, that is causing trouble in the South China Sea, threatening Taiwan, to Russia, invading a sovereign territory of Ukraine,
more money to
threatening their
Ukraine.
freedom and stability in Western Europe that the greatest generation fought to protect.
It's a good point, Matt
And then
Lee.
you have Iran, that in the Persian Gulf is threatening our seagoing vessels. And of course, you have Russia as well. And so these are serious times in terms of global threats.
Trump and JFK? Well, that's going to be hard. We're going to need some smelling salts, a space heater, and a cranial cavity filler. Something better than plaster. I'm not sure how Kennedy's head's doing now, but it can have gotten better with age. So what do you think, Olivia? Donald Trump and JFK on the same ticket. How do you feel?
Well,
Do you think we should dig him up and?
that's what I was going to say. It might take a lot of smelling salts. It might be pretty gruesome, vice presidential debate.
Right. But at least Trump will look like
But
a
if it's
GQ.
against Kamala, I've no doubt he'll win.
Yeah,
so.
I agree. I just don't think JFK is the answer. I think somebody with a little bit more oomph, a little more spring in their step. I don't know. But at least you know what your campaign song will be.
Maybe JFK Jr.
Olivia, why do you interrupt me when I'm ready to drop a one-liner?
Sorry.
I mean, seriously, now I can't even talk about garbage and head like a hole. I mean, seriously, what the hell's wrong with you? The delivery was perfect and you had to do it, didn't you?
Yes.
You just had to freaking interrupt me. I mean, that would have been perfect. Hey, his campaign song's going to be head like a hole, but now it doesn't even sound good. Jeez.
Do you want to tell the story or are you going to let me finish?
Come on, man. JFK.
Do you want to tell the story or are you going to let me finish?
Manager.
Nobody could hear you. Obama was talking. We're sorry. Did you have something to say? I'm sorry. Go ahead, please. I apologize. Obama was being rude. I mean, he just lost his cook. He's got to be hungry. Go ahead.
Hey, you shut your face. If we
You
want to
suck.
hear you talk, I will shove my arm up your ass and work your mouth like a puppet.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
true. That's true. Well done.
Exactly.
Well done. Well done. You win. You win. You got the Samuel L. Jackson. Yep, you win. You good. You good. You good, sister. You good. Oh, let's see. Do we have a you did it?
No.
Yes,
Okay.
Obama is the Antichrist.
All right, here we go.
And yes, I believe
Love
in
you.
America that needs to be strong. I believe in an America that needs to assert its leadership and that we should not yield to China's leadership on the world stage.
Matt, we know you did, and we're just kidding you, buddy. Listen, RFK, dude, RFK is not the guy. Go back 3 years and listen to his points on masks and vaccines. He says what's popular. This guy embraces things. He didn't know anything about Ukraine. He completely muddled the timeline on Ukraine. RFK he's for banning of firearms and Second Amendment confiscating guns. He's not the guy. He is an absolute 100% libertarian, but when it comes to conservative-based values, he is 100% a liberal. He is not conservative in those thought processes. His abortion policy will out. The closer they get to the general and get to, that fine line of deciding if he's going to split parties, you will start hearing him go more to the left because he has to be, because Biden's going to go more to the center. When Biden goes more to the center, RFK is going to try to pick up the left fringe. And unfortunately, you're going to hear his true colors come out. I like him as a person. I think he's a great guy. I think he's funny. I think he's interesting. I would love to interview him, but he's also just a little bit left field for me, literally.
Who's up there right now? A couple people have asked, and I don't even know who that is.
What?
Who's talking?
This is Hutchinson. He's a no name. But if I keep pausing, we're never going to get through it.
These are serious times in which
Here, I'll just mute it. So Hutchinson is a low percent candidate. He has absolutely no chance. He's a butt kiss. He is simply vying for an administration seat. He wants to get onto, I don't know, Foreign Affairs Committee or get onto an ambassadorship or something like that. Right now, Mike Pence is talking. I do want to get to Rick Scott, and I have no problem, maybe even DeSantis, but I can't. Yeah, I mean, Matt says, I like the idea of destroying the deep state. Yeah, but you can't destroy the deep state. That's not the way it works. because you're a part of it. It's like people who these are the same people who are trying to balance the budget. You can't balance the budget in Washington because it's the people in Washington who are the problem. It's kind of like being a schizophrenic and want to stop seeing people. You're the problem. It's your brain, and getting a lobotomy isn't going to fix it. So you can't fix the swamp from inside the swamp. You need a third-party agency. What you need to do is have the president sign over declarative powers to a third party and still make all the decisions for the country and everything else, but take an investigatory body, which is made up of indiscriminate different agencies that are 100% responsible and autonomous from the current administration. And to do that, I don't know how you do that. Honestly, I would start with the sheriff's office, and I would find, man, it's tough. I don't know any of the agencies right now that are not completely infiltrated in one way or another. So it would have to be something like an independent agency coming in and doing this. And I guess what you would have to do is the American people would have to decide, and you would have to have it be an amalgamation of different types of people. Maybe a couple CEOs, maybe a couple of economists, maybe a couple of high-profile lawyers that are not paid by the RNC and DNC. I don't know. Or maybe what you do is you have a tribunal made up of 2 delegates from each state that are randomly selected by the state. Maybe that's what you do. I don't know. But what you don't do is clear it from the inside, because it's impossible. You're not going to do that. Trump tried. He failed. And he's not going to do it in his second term. So anyone thinks that the swamp is going to go away, you don't understand. The entire process is the swamp. That's the problem. You can stay with Trump. That's fine. Stay with Trump. But if you expect him to destroy the swamp, dude, the people are so bad involved in this that they don't even know they're involved in this. There's people who think they're clean from it, who have taken money. The amount of blackmail that goes on of trading ponies is absolutely horrendous. You're just not going to clean it. There's just no way. Our system is what it is. They couldn't clean Greece. They couldn't do Rome. They're not going to fix this. The Senate is the problem. This democracy that we have is the problem. We need to get back to being a republic, a nation of laws. But unfortunately, we're far from that. Far from that. James says it's a tyrannical government our forefathers warned us about, all bought and paid for. Yep. Bowl in a china shop. There's been bowls before. It's listen, if anyone had a chance to destroy it, it would have been Ronald Reagan. He had usurped 100% autonomous power of our military and the FBI, and he didn't clear out the swamp. And Ronald Reagan was one of the most unbought, unpaid for, because he had been on both sides of the aisle, similar to Trump. He's never going to step foot in the White House again. And I'm just telling you, and I'm sorry. And you don't have to like that. You don't have to love it. You don't have to appreciate me. You don't even have to follow me. I'm just going to tell you the truth. He's never going to be in the White House again. They're going to nail him on obstruction. Then they're going to impose the 14th Amendment on him, and they're not going to let him run again. And enough Republicans want that where they will get that vote. And it's tragic, and it sucks, and it's wrong, but that's just the way it is. Trump did enough wrong with obstruction. It wasn't about the crime. It was always how he reacted to the crime. And that's how they knew they would get him. Unload as much as they possibly could on him, and Trump would do what Trump does, be the bull in the china shop. And he was. And unfortunately, it's going to turn out to be obstruction. You don't have to agree with me. I'm used to it, but I'm just telling you the truth. Glenn Youngkin, yeah, Liv, we have Glenn Youngkin. We know a lot about him. Mm-hmm. We campaigned for him. We pushed for him. What do you think?
Went to one of his rallies.
What do you think of him?
I like what he's doing for Virginia so far. I don't have any complaints. I think he would be a good presidential candidate in the future, maybe 2028, but I don't think he's ready now.
I think it's fair. I think they're pushing him forward. So Guy says, okay, so you don't like Trump. I never like, do you mean like Trump for 2024 as a realistic candidate? No, I don't see it. I think he'll get the nomination, and I think he's going to get beat if he can get through these. But it's not about liking Trump. I like Trump just fine, but me liking him doesn't get him elected. I think there's a lot of people who like him. We need people to love him, and there's not enough people to love him. The unfortunate thing is that Democrats are in the same boat. This is going to be so tight and so close. You don't have the mail-in ballot drama. You don't have 50 million mail-in ballots out there that are unrequested. So that's the first thing. So you don't have emergency powers with COVID. You're not going to get extensions on counting dates that aren't already written into the state's constitution. So that's a benefit for the Republicans. But you also have a very unpopular Joe Biden, but unfortunately more unpopular is Donald Trump. You don't have the legal drama, but you are starting to get that legal drama for Biden. I mean, dude, the whole chemical makeup of this is incredible, and it's nobody knows. But what you do know is that all I got to ask you is, what did you see in 2018? Did it resemble 2016? Not at all. 2020, did it resemble 2016? No, not at all. Did 2022 resemble 2016? No, not at all, especially in the swing states. So what has happened in Michigan? What has happened in Wisconsin? What has happened in Georgia? What has happened in the Carolinas? Has anything happened in New Mexico? Has anything happened in Nevada? And has anything happened in Arizona to lead you to believe that those swing states will vote for Trump this time? No? Well, then he doesn't have a path to the presidency. And if he doesn't have a path to the presidency, then he's not going to win. Do you understand? He's done nothing. All the bellwethers and all the weather vanes have showed you that there is no path to winning right now. So he's got to come out and start winning these states, and he's not. Because why? Because this constant drip, drip, drip of criminal cases. So it's not about me liking Trump or not liking Trump. I'm a realist. So I'm not saying Trump didn't do anything. I mean, I have stood up here for hundreds of hours and defended Trump on his policy. Where I take issue is for the last 2.5 years, instead of leveraging his rallies, leveraging the people who vote for him with policy and going after Biden incessantly, he's basically went up and had a revenge tour. And I don't think that that's been beneficial for his campaign. No. And if I was his campaign advisor, which I'm not, I'm just some piddly podcast guy who's been in politics for 35 years. What do I know is that he's done nothing to gain gravitas or momentum or expanded his base where he could possibly win these swing states. And until we see something different, this is all just a moot point. Let's get to DeSantis. He's on. I want to hear him. It's important to me. I want to hear everybody. And we'll put that on real quick. Here we go.
Biden back to his basement in Delaware on a permanent vacation. I can promise you this, in my White House, there will be no cocaine allowed in the...
Guy says, oh, I don't care because you're not a lawyer. Well, I do know how to spell because, though, and that's a bonus.
White House. And look, my son's only 5 years old, so he's not going to be lining his pockets with money from foreign governments.
Thanks, Guy. Guy says he loves Donald Trump. That's exciting. That means essentially if we were voting for a country of one, then he would most assuredly would win. But unfortunately, you don't make up the entire American public or the poll numbers that we've seen with a head-to-head with Biden. Whether you like that or not is immaterial. You can laugh and do emojis and all that, or you can call in and try your luck and take a shot at the title. But Guy, you're hopelessly ill-informed, and that's not my fault. That's yours. And if you listen, maybe you could actually pick something up.
So don't worry about that. It's great to be here. I want to thank Chairman Kaufman. I want to thank all the great legislators in the state of Iowa for their great work. And I want to commend your outstanding governor, Kim Reynolds, for her leadership leading this great state. Our country is in decline, and Joe Biden is the custodian of...
Darn it, I wanted to hear this. Knock it off. Trump's going to jail. Imagine all the regular folks in Florida who heard all the real factual proof of crimes and they agreed to have him charged. Well, you understand. Okay, Mike, I really don't have time to explain this to you, but I've got one person who thinks that I don't like Trump because I'm actually telling the truth. So I'm going to show you why you think I love Trump by telling you the truth. And neither one are material to either argument. But dude, do you understand a grand jury only hears the prosecutorial position? They don't hear anything from the defense. So most grand juries and indictments find enough evidence, at least exculpatory evidence based on fact, to create that transfer of having a hearing, having an arraignment, having an arrest, so the facts can actually be heard. That's what happens during discovery. And then after that process, you'll see the prosecution and the defense go in front of the judge, and they'll make a decision on where they want to go from a prosecution standpoint. So really, it doesn't matter. What you're saying is kind of ridiculous. The only grand juries we really hear about are the ones where they're moving forward, and most grand juries do move forward. So that's an immaterial point. By the way, can't wait for grand jury in Georgia and New York, and let's not forget about D.C. He had a chance to show proof of his innocence, maybe. And he didn't even show up. That's right. He didn't show up with E. Jean Carroll. That's right. He didn't, because sometimes when you lend credence to things, they become ridiculous. Second, it's a civil case. His insurance pays for that. It's civil litigation. It means nothing from a criminal standpoint. I don't know what else to say about that. Because he has nothing to prove his innocence, Trump's going to jail. So I think it's horribly naive to assume that Donald Trump is going to jail. I think he's going to be charged with obstruction. He will have to pay a very healthy fine. And I do believe that there won't be jail time. At the very, very minimum, there will be some sort of a probational type of sentencing. I don't think you understand that the 70 some odd indictments doesn't hurt Donald Trump. It actually helps because it shows that the prosecution is literally throwing spaghetti at the wall. There are rapists and Al Capone who didn't have this many indictments. It's kind of ridiculous. A lot of this is throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. I do believe that Trump obstructed justice. You heard me say it here. I think he needs to be held accountable for that. And then I think we need to have a very thorough investigation into Joe Biden, his finances, and his pay-to-play schemes that he's been doing, which it's all unraveling now. So I hope you feel the same way. I noticed how you only pointed out Trump and didn't bring up Biden, which makes me lead to believe that you're a shill. If you're not, call the show, and I'll be happy to debate you online about your one-sided opinion. Thanks for having a conversation with me. That's all I got with the trolls tonight.
That decline. I'm running for president because we as Republicans cannot be content with simply managing the decline of our country a little bit better than the Democrats. We must reverse American decline. We must restore this country to greatness, and we must provide our country with a new birth of freedom. To do that requires vision, it requires courage, and it requires leadership. That's exactly what we did in the state of Florida. Everything I promised people I would do, we did. And we delivered more than what we promised. We expanded Second Amendment rights. We enacted the heartbeat bill. We cut taxes by $2.7 billion. We have paid down 25% of our state's debt.
Guy's done with me, and I can't tell you, Guy, how horribly heartbroken I am. Please don't go. Please stay. Please, I want you to go ahead and make grandiose statements about me that you have absolutely no bearing to say. Please don't go. Please stay. You're upset because I told you the truth, and I'm sorry. You're not going to get that anywhere else. You can go to The View. They're down $4 down. They'll tell you all the things you want to hear, unless you're a Republican. If you don't like that, you can go over to let's see, Charlie Kirk's available, and I can tell you all of his predictions came wrong, where I stood up against him and told him that Kari Lake was not going to win and didn't stand a snowball's chance in hell. And he lied and made plenty of money over Kari Lake when I was the only one that told you she was going to lose. In fact, no other pundit or no other commentator in the country said that she was going to lose, and I called it before the primary in the general. So I don't know what to tell you, man. You don't have to like me. I really don't care. I'm just going to tell you the truth, and you either love that or don't. But either way, say la vie, take your football, go home. Here's a Kleenex. Have a nice day.
We have the #1 rated economy in the country, #1 in new business formations. We have eliminated critical race theory from our K through 12 schools. We have enacted a Parents' Bill of Rights to protect the rights of parents. And we have held criminals accountable by enacting the death penalty for pedophiles. And our crime rate is at a 50-year low. And when it came time...
His delivery is painful, isn't it, Livy?
Yeah, I'm not even really focused on him right now.
He just loses the room. He says the right things, but he's my name is DeSantis, and this is the way. It's like he's a bot, dude. Like Youngkin would be up there making eye contact. He would have his hands moving. I mean, DeSantis is like a robot. He looks like he's going to snap the podium. It's hard for me to get behind him because he reminds me a lot of Ted Cruz. He says all the right things, but he doesn't know how to say it. Does that make sense? We'll see. Let's play the rest.
To deal with the COVID-19 pandemic, we refuse to let the state of Florida descend into some type of Faucian dystopia. We stood strong against the mob, against the left, against the bureaucracy, and we fought for our people's rights. We fought for their jobs. We fought to have our kids in school, and as a result, the state of Florida has never done better. We will deliver those results in Washington.
He can wear a suit, though. I'll give him that.
We will repeal Bidenomics so that middle-class people actually have a chance to get ahead.
He wears a good suit. I'll give him that much. He looks presidential. He just doesn't talk like it. He hasn't found the presidential thing, right? The variable. We saw this in West Wing. He just hasn't found the presidential voice yet. Either has Nikki Haley. They both say the right things, but they don't say it the right way. That's the best way I can say it.
In this country again, we will stop the Congress from borrowing and spending this country into oblivion. We need a balanced budget amendment to the U.S. Constitution. We need term limits for members of Congress so that we can have a citizen legislature again. We will.
Who endorsed Fauci? Matt says you were praising Fauci at first. Who?
I'm not sure.
That wasn't me. I know you're not talking about me. I've done more hits on Fauci than just about anybody. And second, Donald Trump supported Fauci and sang his praises and handed over the keys to the country to him. So let's be honest, right? Let's be realistic. If we're going to go ahead and give Trump his accolades, we got to go ahead and say what he did wrong. So Trump's still pro-vaccine. He just said something last week in the papers about how he still supports the vaccine. So Trump was pro-Fauci for a long time too. And DeSantis played that marionette as well.
Bureaucracy off the back of small businesses in this country. And I'm going to issue an order to all agencies in D.C. to reduce their D.C. footprint by at least 50%. We
can get $10,000 in precious metals for free.
We will develop our own natural resources, and we will be energy independent because we don't want to help our enemies.
I'm telling you right now. Okay, I'm telling you right now, there is nobody on the Republican dais who is a Republican and a conservative, even Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek's going to fall apart. If he gets into the debates, he's going to get destroyed because his platform is 6 months old. He has said and talked out of the both sides of his mouth. I have a video to show it to you. I like him. I said this, but he's great at representing other people's ideas and not having any originality. If you could take Ramaswamy and you could take DeSantis and put them together, you would have somebody who could run for office and win, because Ramaswamy has the presidential prowess and the ability to put a sentence together, and DeSantis has the look. DeSantis has that Kennedy look. You put them both together. But unfortunately, that's not the way it's going to work. The only other person who can talk like Ramaswamy and looks like DeSantis, unfortunately, isn't doing that anymore. Donald Trump hasn't done that yet. I'm hopeful for tonight. I want him to come out and not talk about the indictments. I don't want him to talk about the election. I don't want him to talk about January 6th. I want him to talk about what he is going to do to turn over this Biden regime and this tyrannical rule in our country. And I want him to grab my vote and run with it tonight. I've been waiting for that for 2.5 years. I have a feeling I'm going to be disappointed again tonight.
I pledge to be the president to finally solve the issue of the southern border. We're sending the military to the border. Yes, we will build a border wall, and we will use deadly force against the Mexican drug cartels because I'm sick of them poisoning our kids. I'm sick of them killing our citizens, and I'm sick of them trafficking people into this country. That ends on January 20th, 2020.
I'll tell you what, go ahead, Liv.
I say you can tell what he's passionate about.
Yeah, and it's
good. He gets very animated and he's got conviction in what he says. Otherwise, he's just kind of mundane.
Well, I like his Mexican border policy, but I'm just telling you, if you start whacking cartel, you are going to be in a Vietnam style type of war with the 12th largest standing private army in the world. The Mexican cartel is not a slouch. They may not have integrated air defense systems and fighter jets, but you have to go fight a jungle war. And the Viet Cong didn't have any of that either. And they held off and actually beat the United States. I would be very careful talking about a land war in Mexico against the cartel. That's very dangerous. But if you want to say that if we catch them over the border, that we seek the death penalty for every pound of fentanyl they have, fine.
We will usher in a reckoning for those like Dr. Fauci who perpetrated COVID-19 lockdown and mandate policies. Those policies were destructive for this country.
Who's on fire tonight?
Amy, she's been making
hurt
jokes.
people.
Oh.
They hurt our economy, and we still haven't fully recovered from it. You don't coddle bureaucrats like Dr. Fauci. You bring them in and you say you are fired, and we are going to hold them accountable for what they did.
Covert operations in South America or Mexico is a absolute logistical nightmare. You're asking for servicemen to come back in body bags by the hundreds. You need to soften those targets, and you need to take out command and control of 16 different regions. And you're talking about 500,000 soldiers in those regions. You don't do covert warfare against that. You have to soften with aerial bombardments. You have to take out command and control units. You're going to have to send in foot soldiers to do that. You're going to have to sweep and clear those jungles. You send in special ops in there, they're going to get hunted down and slaughtered. No. Sorry. Disagree.
We are going to ensure that parents in this country have the fundamental right to direct the upbringing and well-being of their kids. Schools and systems are important, but they do not supersede the rights of parents. We want education in this country, not indoctrination in this country. We got it done in Florida, and we need to get it done nationally.
It's good. It's good. Good pacing.
And I got Kamala Harris coming down to Florida trying to create phony narratives because she understands Florida has stood up to the left's agenda. We have beat the left's agenda in the state of Florida, and so she thinks she can come down and lie about what we're doing in the state of Florida. I'm not budging an inch. We are going to fight back against these people, and we are not letting them take over our schools any longer. We are going to get this right as a nation. We will also end the weaponization of federal agencies like the FBI and the Department of Justice. On day one, with me as president, you will have a new director of the FBI, long overdue. You will see a house cleaning at the Department of Justice, and we are personally going to hold them accountable. We are not going to allow them to target people like parents going to a school board meeting, pro-life demonstrators just speaking their mind, or targeting religious groups like observant Catholics. Weaponization ends on day one of our administration, and we are going to reconstitutionalize this federal government once and for all.
Wow. Good.
I'm proud to be the only candidate running for president on either side of the aisle this year that's actually served in a war. I served in Iraq as a naval officer alongside Navy SEALs in Fallujah and Ramadi and places like that. Not exactly Club Med, but it was duty that called. And, I had opportunities to do a lot of other things in my life. I was a blue-collar kid. I worked minimum wage jobs, didn't necessarily have anything handed to me, but I put myself in a position to do well. But then 9/11 happened. All volunteer force. I said, I need to do my part. So we served. And when you wear the cloth of your country, you wear that American flag on your uniform, you serve beside fellow patriots, and you serve a mission greater than yourself. That's a noble calling. And I thank all the veterans in Iowa and throughout this country who have worn the uniform, because at the end of the day, a veteran is somebody who at one point in their life has written a check payable to the United States of America for an amount up to and including that individual's life. And we have a situation.
It's good.
We have a situation now in this country where our recruiting into our military is at the lowest level since the end of the draft during the Vietnam War. And the reason why, and I have veterans coming up to me saying, Governor, I don't know that I'd want my kids or grandkids to join today's military. Why? Because they're indulging in social experiments.
Real quick, Jason, I appreciate that nobody's saying, stop pausing it, because we've got copyright laws that we have to follow too, but also this is a talk show. And, Olivia is talking to everybody online and I'm adding color commentary. Jason says, if Trump fails, DeSantis is the best bet. I don't know about that. I really like Glenn Youngkin, and he frustrates me sometimes because he almost is too moderate at times, but he's done a wonderful job in Virginia. I mean, he truly has. And this was purple as purple could be, and it's very red now. We have a good balance of Democrats and Republicans. There's a healthy discourse happening in this state, and I don't feel fearful that I need to leave because it is purple going to blue. It is truly a moderate state, and that's what I want. I think every state should be purple. I don't believe there should be red strongholds or blue strongholds, because I do believe that this two-party system can work when there is a conversation and we raise the level of debate in this country. I like Glenn Youngkin a lot. They're starting to push him. His popularity is incredible. I think it's 64% in Virginia. That's higher than Whitmer, which is incredible. So just something to think about.
They're pursuing political agendas, woke ideology. They've taken their eye off the ball. As commander-in-chief on day one, we are going to rip the politics.
Look at the scoreboard in Florida. What scoreboard are you referring to? Are you referring to the 4 counties that are blue versus the 22 that somehow fell off in 2022? Yep. Are we looking at his overall performance and how it's dropped down? Well, you anticipated that. Big donors have shifted. He's losing a little bit of his campaign momentum. I told you this was going to tighten. I do believe he'll be top 4, top 5. Ultimately, what's going to get him is how he differentiates himself from Trump. But what do you mean? What do you mean scoreboard in Florida? Are you talking about the baseball game? I haven't looked at that either. So
I've got a good question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so Mike Braithwaite, hopefully I said that right.
Braithwaite, yeah.
He says if Trump can't achieve the GOP nomination and get elected for whatever reason, and other Republican candidates like DeSantis or Haley are no good, how does the U.S. get a president that is not a Democrat and president that can take the U.S. and all its people forward?
Yeah, you don't. Unfortunately, you get Obama for a second term because the choice of options aren't acceptable. Nobody wanted Romney. They didn't want magic underwear guy. So if you don't put a viable candidate forward, you get what happens with McCain. You see what happens with people like Walter Mondale. If you don't have a viable candidate, you lose. Right now, I don't believe that there is a viable candidate minus Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. I think those are the 2 candidates that have the highest potential to win. I would say right now I'm 95% certain without the legal trouble that Donald Trump wins the Republican nomination. If Glenn Youngkin gets involved, watch out, because Glenn Youngkin will absolutely appeal to women. He'll appeal to minorities. He'll appeal to Gen Z. He will appeal to military. He will appeal to educators and teachers. How do I know? Because I saw it here in Virginia. He got everybody. Because he's young, he's a Kennedy-like, he's down to earth, he doesn't seem full of shit, and he gives answers that inspire everybody. Even if you don't always agree with him, you still are like, yeah, you know what? That was pretty good. Youngkin is absolutely a viable candidate, and if he gets in this thing, Trump should be worried. Because his attacks won't break down Youngkin, because Youngkin will Northam tried to attack Youngkin, and he ate Northam for breakfast. Just ate him for breakfast.
All right, so Scott checked the Florida scoreboard. Marlins and Tigers are tied 4-4 in the 8th, just so you know.
Marlins, I don't care about the Tigers and Marlins.
Somebody said check the Florida scoreboard, so somebody checked the Florida scoreboard. It's a baseball game.
But aren't we playing?
No.
Isn't it the Astros tonight and Marlins?
I don't know. No, don't.
Well, why are we talking about Tigers and? I don't understand. Stop.
The Tigers.
I don't care about any of those people. I just want to know if the Stros are playing the Florida team.
I don't know, but somebody said check the Florida scoreboard, so one of our viewers went and checked the Florida scoreboard.
Oh, okay. I don't care about Marlins.
The Florida Marlins, because they're from Florida.
No,
so
I understand. Okay, whatever.
The military, we're going to end the woke agenda, and we are going to restore the military.
No, I'm not talking about the Rays ripping on the Stros.
Oh, we are.
That's what I said.
Tampa Bay.
Look at the things DeSantis did in Florida, his accomplishments. Well, Jason, you obviously haven't seen my videos on DeSantis where I went through his accomplishments and I gave sterling reviews. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is if he cannot sell those to Trump supporters, he doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell. And right now, the war that's going on between Trump and DeSantis is absolutely cathartic and palpable. Go on Twitter for 5 minutes, and you will understand that there is this vicious civil war happening between DeSantis and Trump supporters. That is a very difficult thing to do. And a lot of people look at DeSantis and say that he is disloyal for running. That's the kind word. I'm a DeSantis fan when it comes to his policies, but if he cannot transition that into the national stage, then he doesn't have any hope.
Military to mission first, and we are going to make people proud to serve again and join again, and that's going to make our country stronger. So here's the thing. We're not getting the mulligan on 2024. We either win this election and make good on all the promises that we're making, or the Democrats are...
Quickly, Youngkin is starting to show signs of wanting to run. The Republican committee, DeSantis was their boy. Just like Newsom was the backup for Biden, DeSantis was backup for Trump. He's not doing too well. So now they're going to go tap Youngkin. I called this 2 years ago. I told you what would happen. I said, you're not going to see DeSantis get in the race unless the Republican National Committee tap him. And then if DeSantis fails, you're ultimately going to see them tap Youngkin. That's what's happening. It's not checkers,
We're going to
it's
throw
chess.
this country into a hole that's going to take us a generation to come out of. I believe that decline
No problem,
is
Mike.
a choice. I believe success is attainable, and I know that freedom is worth fighting for.
Glenn will tell you. Glenn's right there. Glenn's been here from the beginning. Amy's been here from the beginning. I have called what's going to happen here. I said, if DeSantis, listen, I wanted DeSantis. Everybody wanted DeSantis as VP 6 months ago. Don't even pretend. It was always Trump, DeSantis. And now, oh, he's governor, needs to stay in Florida. Well, that's not going too well. So Youngkin is the only other candidate. Paul Hogan's not going to run. He's horrible. Youngkin is the only Republican, true Republican, who has the business experience, and that will sell him. America will buy him because of that. He's a multi-millionaire. He is a very successful businessman and a Fortune 500 company executive. He's also very down to earth. He will ultimately be sold to the American public very effectively, and he can talk.
This is our chance in 2024 to send the Biden-Harris administration to the dustbin of history where it belongs. We have to rise to the occasion. We have to fight the good fight. We have to finish the race, and we have to keep the faith. The time for excuses is over. We must get the job done.
Is Larry Elder out there? Oh, come on. I like Larry, but come on, dude.
The job done. God bless you all. Thank you so much. We're doing all 99 counties in Iowa because this caucus demands that you earn it, and you got to go meet the folks. So you'll see me everywhere. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Let's win in 2024.
It's the biggest reaction tonight. He's not going to beat Trump. Eddie, I haven't left out anybody. I've covered Vivek and Ramaswamy, and I've covered his abilities. Right now, he is the front runner because it's a lack of options. He's not going to be president of the United States. Any serious look into his past, and you'll find that he's flip-flopped on a multitude of issues. I think he understands the Constitution. He says some very good things, but it doesn't mean that he is a viable presidential candidate. I just don't agree. I like him, but I don't see him as a president.
Please welcome Senator Tim Scott.
Hey, Annie, just pick up the phone.
Looking at the promise of the promised land.
I can't play that. Hold on. Can't play that. I'll get crushed. Yeah, Chris Christie, no, dude. Not a chance.
How many of you all are just like me, really proud to be Americans? I am so proud to be an American. My granddaddy, who was born in 1921 in the Deep South, taught me two really important lessons about being an American. The first thing he taught me was that we kneel to the Father in prayer. He taught me that James 5:16 says the prayers of the righteous avail much. And even though we kneel to the Father in prayer, he said lesson number 2 is that we stand for the flag in respect. He said,
which is actually antithetical if you think about it. If mandatory religion is your focus, and then you stand to the independence of the flag, which, okay, whatever.
Our American flag is a symbol.
I need a drink. Can we break out the whiskey now?
Of freedom and liberty and justice.
Vivek as a possible VP, maybe, Eddie, maybe. He's gonna have to shore up his. I need to see him in a debate because he's gonna get torn up in the debates. I'm just letting you know.
For all. These were powerful words from a man born, as I said, in the Deep South who understood a very different America. So when I moved into his home, when my parents divorced, when I was 7 years old, we moved into his home.
It may be true to a Southern upbringing, but it doesn't speak to a nation. And it's important to, in my opinion, you can be godly, but what you don't get to do is go down and sound like you're from the Deep South and you're at a sermon. I think it's pandering. I think it's ridiculous because this is not how Rick Scott talks, okay? So you know what? There's a very big difference between having a person of faith and pandering to people. I'm not a big fan.
700 square feet.
Why doesn't he sit up there and go, Nib High football rules?
A rental. He taught me very quickly. He said, son, you can be bitter or you can get better, but you can't be both. These were valuable lessons. And my mother helped so much. She was a lady who taught me because she worked 16 hours a day as a nurse's aide, changing bedpans and rolling patients. She taught me that there is dignity in all work, and that if you're able-bodied in America, you work. That's called America.
This is better, a little bit. I'm surprised he didn't call her mama. My mama and papa, my grandmama. I mean, that's a little, at least he's getting off that, you know? But yeah, we'll see.
If you take
I
out
need
a
to say
loan.
something real quick.
Yeah.
Holly, you're getting on my nerves.
Uh-oh, Holly, you're okay. Hold on. Let me get Holly, you've been asking for this for a while.
You're getting on my nerves, Holly. You said something to my daughter that I wanted to run through the camera and just rip your throat out. You said something to me on the last show, and now you're saying something about my husband.
What's she saying?
You better back the fuck off.
What's she saying?
She's calling you a downer because you're telling the truth about Trump. Because you are, in her words, let's see.
I can't. Let me hear
Let's
it.
see.
You done fucked up, Holly.
Your man, because he goes, such a downer. So I said, who's a downer? Your man. He keeps killing our dreams of the fact that certain people deserve to be president.
Deserve? What? Who did I say deserves to be president? Nobody deserves to be president.
So, Holly, either call in
Yeah.
and let's talk,
Yeah.
woman to woman.
Yeah.
If you're going to stay on the show, let's be nice.
Yeah.
And stop calling people names and stop being rude.
Yeah.
And have good conversations. If not, you can just fuck off and
Okay.
watch another show. You're on my nerves. I said it after the last show, and I told Matt,
She did.
you're on my last nerve.
And what did I say? What did I say?
You told me to go for it. And
No, that's not what I said.
What did you tell me to
I said,
say?
just ignore it. Just move on. She's on Rumble. She's having her opinions. Who cares? It's all right. But you know what? I'm not your keeper. So
I'm annoyed. Just
I got it.
keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Please, for the love of God. And I don't want to hear anything about what I just said because I already know what you're going to say. Keep it to yourself.
She's probably going to quote scripture.
She is. She's going to quote something and tell
Listen.
me I'm a godless Jezebel or something.
Well, you're a Jezebel, but you're not godless because you call me oh God every morning. So
Olivia only seems meek till she isn't.
yeah, no shit. Yeah, no.
I may look innocent.
She
to
collects
God.
knives. Here's the thing, Holly. If you find, you know what? Good. I'm glad. I'm glad you find me to at least be honest. I'm not here to make you feel better. I'm not here to make you feel bad. I'm here to tell you the truth. And sometimes that doesn't feel very good. But honestly, I'm not going to stop because you don't like it. You have other shows you can watch. So I would recommend you do that. Okay? Cool. Oh, and another thing, you shouldn't mess with my wife. It's not a good idea.
You pay it back. And if you commit a violent crime.
Michael says, do I use a moderator? Yeah, I've got several moderators, but they're told not to ban anybody unless they are, putting out racial statements or degrading members. Otherwise,
or they link other shows. Or
no, they get a warning for that. You can link, but a lot of people try to come in here and steal my traffic, and I don't have enough to worry about, but I want to keep the ones that I have. So it's really rude to link another live show while I'm doing my show. I think that's kind of disgraceful, but I don't want people banned. It's the people that say things that are absolutely repugnant. Like when Squall left, I didn't want him banned. I mean, he's like, dude, I don't agree with you or whatever. I don't care. That's fine. You can say that, and hopefully you come back. But what I'm not going to do is apologize to you for showing you all the candidates.
You go to jail. And if God made you a man, you play sports against men. These are simple, common sense lessons of America. But Joe Biden and the radical left, he is attacking the values that made us possible. He is tearing down every...
Dude, this is a sermon. This isn't. This is not. Give me a political campaign, yo. Tell me what you're going to do.
rung of the ladder that helped me climb. I was a kid trapped in poverty who did not believe that in America all things were possible. But because of the values of this nation, the kid who nearly flunked out of high school as a freshman, I failed 4 subjects, Spanish and English. When you fail Spanish and English, no one calls you bilingual. No, they call you biignant. But I had a mentor who told me all things were possible. And so protecting the values of America is protecting the rungs on the ladder that allow the poorest, most vulnerable students in this nation to climb. We must protect our values. I'm running for president because I know America can do for anyone what she's done for me. Focusing on restoring hope, creating opportunities.
Sounds like a TED Talk.
He's trying to be Obama.
Sounds like a TED Talk.
He's trying to be Obama. Did you see the hand? This is the Bill Clinton shuffle and the Obama shuffle. You know, he's out here. I want to protect you, and I want you to come over here and touch my willy. I want you to stroke it. I want you to cup it. I want you to cuddle it. That's right, Mama. Yes, do it like that. He's doing that thing. He needs to stop. Differentiate yourself, man. Be unique.
And protecting the America we all love. To protect the America we all love, we must first start by backing the blue, every law enforcement officer in this country.
No, he totally sounds like Obama, Debbie. You're right. And he's not talking like he usually does. This is ridiculous.
Our respect and our admiration. You see, the radical left, they want to defund and demonize and demoralize the police. It's our responsibility to refund and rebuild local law enforcement. We must restore dignity and respect, but we also have to get tougher on violent criminals, from carjackers to cop killers who should never see the light of day again.
Dude,
I haven't learned anything about what he's running on.
Dude, Republicans have been wearing red and blue ties for a long time. It's not. This isn't unheard of. Matt, I get your point on Scott, but his message, it could be taken about his race. It could be taking about his race is not a crutch. No. I don't like the pandering. I don't like the stuff. He doesn't talk like this, and I don't care if you talk like this. That's fine. Just talk like you always talk. I think Rick Scott is an amazing human being, and I could definitely see him in a position on the administration. He's got to do better. If people are going to hound DeSantis for being prosthetic, you got to say the same thing about Scott. Come on.
And by doing so, we will allow grandmothers like the one that raised me not to be trapped in her house from the time the sun goes down until the time the sun comes up. But in order to protect America, we must also protect our southern border. We must build the wall, finish it. 70,000 Americans have lost their lives to fentanyl.
What's wrong?
A good friend of mine in Charleston, a business school former dean, Alan Schau, just this year, a few months ago, lost.
Carson, I love that you said that. It doesn't matter what someone looks or sounds like for me as long as the policy is solid. I agree with you that I don't care what he looks like or what he sounds like. I don't care. And I've never cared up until tonight, where he specifically changed how he sounds based upon where he is at. And to me, that is pandering. And we've had enough of that with Hillary Clinton. We had enough of it with Obama. We had enough of it with Biden. I'm done with that crap. I don't want to hear that crap, because if you have to pretend you're something that you're not authentic enough to be in the White House. And unfortunately, we've had enough prosthetic people in the White House. We need someone who's honest and true and not afraid to shoot straight. DeSantis is a lot of things. At least he shoots straight. At least he speaks his mind. As dull and drudgery as it is, he speaks his mind. I agree with you up until a point, and this is the point that we disagree. Just figured I would share that with you.
His son to fentanyl. Too many American families are being devastated by a drug whose precursors come from China, manufactured in Mexican labs, and then the cartels bring them across our unsafe, insecure, and wide open southern border. We deserve better. And as President of the United States, I will use the power of the presidency to stop the cartels in their tracks without.
I know Iowans don't talk like that, but the caucus does. And there's money in them seats. And there's Southern Baptists in those seats. And there's Southerners in those seats. And this is being broadcast all over the South as much as it is in the Midwest, the West, and the Northwest, and the Northeast. He's talking nationally and trying to find some sort of differentiator between him and the other candidates. I don't think this works. I'm just telling you, I don't. But yeah, I know they don't talk like that in Iowa. They talk like, well, let's leave it at that.
Without question, they must cease to exist on our side of the border. But we must also close our southern border so that 6 million illegal immigrants under radical Joe Biden do not continue to cross our southern border. And that's before they ended Title 42, which could make it 10 million illegal immigrants.
Okay, could. Title 42, actually, the numbers have went down. And that's because they're annualizing the numbers. So all it's showing is that there's less from record high last year. Numbers are ultimately going down from last year because last year was a record year of the highest illegal immigration into the United States. So that's a false positive there. His projections, although I'm not disagreeing with him, that the reason why these numbers are halfway decent is because it's a false positive number based upon annualized numbers. But I'm also not going to sit here and tell you that 10 million immigrants are coming over the border here when he's talking about possibly the next 10 years and not the next 10 months. Let's keep it in perspective. We have a border problem. We have a drug problem, and we have a serious one, and it needs to be addressed. But 10 million immigrants coming over annualized is not going to happen. So let's slow down and let's try to be really honest, because that would mean that the Border Patrol essentially packs up, goes home, and says, carte blanche, come on in. And that's not happened under any president. I believe Biden has loosened the constrictions on the border. He invited them in. This ultimately was a mistake. He has backpedaled. He has empowered the Border Patrol to actually do their jobs, yet they still need more people, more resources, and they need better defensive structures in order to get these people out of here. That's not happening. Democrats won't vote for it. Joe Biden will never propose it. We need a Republican to do so. But to sit here and scare people and say it's closer to 10 million is kind of ridiculous.
Crossing our borders. We deserve better. But also, as Commander-in-Chief, I will stand toe-to-toe with China and say, not on my watch will you continue to spy on our kids, buy our farmlands, and steal our jobs in our supply chain. We will stop them and win this economic war by creating jobs in America. High-tech, high manufacturing jobs, the marvel of the world. We have the
Do we have a Holly update?
To get these.
Has Holly said anything yet?
A couple things, but
She being nice now?
no, but our loyal followers are. Well, she called us Spears, SPEARS.
Oh, come on. She didn't mean to do that.
No, but I'm not having to do anything now.
But has she said anything else? Did she
Not really,
Did she
no.
puff up? Well, see, listen, I don't want to do this. Holly, I
She
don't.
said apparently, geez, all I expressed was it sucks that in Spears' mind we don't get Trump again.
Well,
that's
you see, Holly, you can't answer any of my questions. That's the problem. You're just being a juvenile. You're being petulant, and that's okay. You can do that. You have the right to be disappointed. I'm just telling you the truth. Please answer my question. Out of the 7 swing states that Trump lost in 2020, please explain to me how he has gained traction in any of those states that leads you to believe that the election will be any different today than it was yesterday. Answer my question. Do that. You answer that, I'll shut up and I'll tell you Trump's going to win 2024. Tell me how he's going to win without those 7 swing states, or also tell me that he's leading in any of those swing states in the Republican race, or against a head-to-head with Joe Biden, or a head-to-head with Newsom, or a head-to-head with Kamala, or a head-to-head with Whitmer. Please, is he leading in any of those states? In any demographic? Any demographic? Let me know. And when you tell me, geez, Matt, I went and looked and I couldn't find one, then there's your answer. And here's your sign. Okay? Thanks. Is he still going?
I am living proof that all things are possible in God's country. And that as we hold on to his dear hand, we can remember that he is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or imagine. We can remember that all things are truly possible, but we must choose greatness over grievance, victory over victimhood, and we must protect this land of opportunity so it doesn't become, with the radical left, the land of oppression.
See how he's talking now? That's Rick Scott. Just heads up. Just want to give it to you. When you listen to people like this for all hours of the day and you follow their careers like I have, you pick up the subtle nuance. That is Rick Scott. The last paragraph and a half have been strictly Rick Scott. That's the guy he needs to be.
God bless America, and God bless you.
Mike Pence 2.0?
No, not as bad as Pence. He's not a Magoo. He just needs to drop the act, and he just needs to speak. Little less preachy.
Please welcome
the back
Harry
half was good.
Johnson.
Who? Did that guy just call me a Harry Johnson? Listen, bro, I shave back and front, dude. I don't rock a dick fro. I don't know what you're talking about. I shave all the time. My woman is important to me.
Funny.
I don't need her getting a hairball in the most important time of our day.
Seriously?
What? I'm just being on. Everyone knows. A man who doesn't shave is not a nice man. He's evil. Devil.
Song going down.
Hi, everybody. It's Harry Johnson. I'm here to go ahead and talk to you.
Hey, big guy. The sun's going down.
It's exactly. Dude, look at this guy. This guy's like,
this?
It's Harry Johnson.
It's Christopher Walken.
It's Harry Johnson.
Comfortable
watching my ass. He's more cowbell. He needs. Oh, did I call Tim Scott Rick Scott? I'm so sorry. I'm tired. You're right, Marianne. Thank you. I'm exhausted. I am so exhausted. Did I do that? Oh, I feel horrible. I'm tired. Just cut me some slack. Thank you for not saying anything.
I can see the
Dumb
commercial
Nation.
for that. Bum, bum. Good job, Chad. Thanks a lot. You know, being a male dancer's hard, especially when you gotta shave your huevos. That's why I use Huevo Splash. Huevo Splash, you sexy mother.
I can't believe I did that. I called Rick Scott Tim Scott. This is what happens when you mix. I'm like, I know this guy. I've listened to him a bunch of times, but I can't even get his name right. Shit. Sorry. I get the golden dildo award. I'll take it. I get slapped with it. I was wrong. Sorry. Here we go. Hey everybody. Harry K. Go Cubs.
Wow, what a crowd. I have to tell you, it is so great to be here in.
All right, everybody, got it. I got to go live.
So good, in fact, that the two nations are now trying very, very hard to renegotiate.
Whoa. That was weird.
Because of COVID, or the China virus, as they say. I also got China to buy, and this is so important, but just don't talk about it, to buy $50 billion worth of American farm product, and they were buying it, and they were buying it in a very big way. Unlike the establishment globalists in this race, I've been an unwavering warrior for Iowa ethanol, and I will remain your ethanol champion, very important to your economy. Ron DeSantis has aggressively fought against ethanol, which I think would be devastating for Iowa. He fights against it all the time. As president, I issued a...
So
He needs to stop calling names.
No, what he needs to do is stop supporting ethanol. The ethanol is subsidized, and the 10% that we actually save in dollars in the environment for ethanol, we actually subsidize. Our tax dollars go back into it, and they stimulate ethanol production because it's a loser. It's just like the NEA. It's just like the Postal Service. I actually am with DeSantis on this, that ethanol is a complete waste of effing time. Now, it's going to cost jobs. It is going to hurt Iowa. I understand that, and that sucks. But I'm tired of my tax dollars subsidizing ethanol to actually show a 10% reduction in emissions. and buying that with my money. I'm sorry. And most Republicans should be against it, but we're for it because of Iowa is such an important state. And if anyone comes out against ethanol, they're going to get destroyed.
Rule declaring all E15 would be made available all year round, and you could reutilize your pumps and all of the existing equipment, which is saving hundreds of millions of dollars for your state. And I dramatically increased the number of fueling pumps where E15 could be sold all across the country. We were really great for ethanol. I staunchly defended Iowa's first in the nation caucuses and was responsible for keeping you as first in the nation. Without me, you would not be first in the nation right now. I created the strongest border in U.S. history, built nearly 500 miles of border wall, then wanted to add another 200 miles. We had the fence all built, then the wall was built. It was ready to go up.
Okay. Does anyone else see what I'm seeing right now? Is there anybody who's seeing what I'm seeing? Tell me I'm wrong. I'm not saying anything. Tell me, you either know what I'm thinking or you don't. Tell me I'm wrong.
I don't know what you're thinking.
Has anyone seen Donald Trump ever do this? Read from a podium, line by line, with absolutely zero energy, zero passion.
What are you thinking?
I think I got to watch a little more and then I'll tell you.
Okay.
But right now, this is not normal for Trump. This is not normal from Trump. No.
Maybe his campaign manager got him in line, so he stopped saying stupid shit.
Not like this isn't how you win. He's not making eye contact with the camera. He's not energized. He's not doing his thing. I think. Let me listen a little bit more.
And when Biden got in, they didn't do it. That's when we first realized this guy actually wanted open borders where people pour into our country. And many of those people come out of prisons and mental institutions and terrorists, and it's a terrible thing that they've allowed to happen to our country. We'll turn that around very fast. Under my leadership, we created the greatest economy in the history of the world, the greatest. And in fact, I actually did it twice, as you very well know. I appointed over 300 federal judges and 3 great Supreme Court justices.
No, and I'm not saying it's not Trump or he's a lizard. No, that is not what I'm thinking, Kristen. Very funny. No.
And last year, those justices, and you know,
Dan, you and I are not in disagreement right now. I'm just saying that. I'm just going to say it. I need to see him in the middle. This is his cadence. He usually starts off a little slow, not this disengaged, and then he builds up. So let's see what happens.
know exactly what they did. They ruled to end Roe v. Wade, and now pro-lifers have a tremendous power to negotiate. We gave them a tremendous power to negotiate, which they didn't have until this termination took place. This moves the issue back to the states where all legal scholars, whether you believe in it or not in it, they felt it should be. And like Ronald Reagan, I support exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. And remember, the Democrats are the radicals on this issue because they're willing to kill babies in their 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th month, and they're willing to kill babies even after birth. And they are the extremists, they are the radicals, and politicians running for office cannot allow this to happen and cannot let them get away with what they do. They try and politicize that issue, and we can't let them get away. We did a phenomenal thing for our country and for life. I fully rebuilt the U.S. military, created Space Force, defeated ISIS, and was the first president in decades who didn't start a war. In fact, I got us out of those lingering, horrible 20-year wars. We were getting out of Afghanistan very powerfully with dignity and strength. In fact, I spoke to the leader of the Taliban.
No, Colleen, you're misrepresenting what I said. I said I wanted to redirect his energy to laying out his policy and talking about what he was going to do and go after Biden. So far, he's went after Ron DeSantis. So far, he has laid out no new policy. He has simply recited what he did, and there is zero energy. This is not what I asked for. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's got zero energy.
You can put lipstick on a pig if you want, but this is not the Donald Trump that I anticipate. Honestly, Ron DeSantis was more exciting. I'm just going to tell you, because I at least heard some policy platforms. I'm hearing him recite what I asked him to do 2 years ago, which was to discuss his policy. I asked him to do this in 2020 in that election focus on his policies and how he was going to be differentiating himself from Biden. The Republican Party didn't even have a party platform for 2020. Listen, I understand what it sounds like when I'm not positive and all happy. I'm sorry. And I know what it's like because I can go watch Newsroom and look at that guy and he says he's a Republican and he talks like a liberal. I'm not a liberal. I want to see Trump do 2016 Trump. Yes, I know he's under investigation. I know it's stressful. I know it's tiring. What do you think freaking 18 to 20-hour days is the president's going to do for 4 years? It's not going to stop. I warned you all 2.5 years ago that they were going to beat him with legal nonsense and pummel him to the ground. This is what happens. The poor man has just been absolutely freaking run through the ringer, and it's not getting any better. Especially when you get a court order to cease and desist and to collect evidence, and then you actually order someone to destroy it. That's obstruction, folks. And if we're going to hold Hillary Clinton accountable to that, which we never did, then we have to go ahead and not speak from both sides of our mouths. If Trump broke the law, he needs to be held accountable. I'm sorry. I don't care. Well, what about Joe Biden? Joe Biden needs to be held accountable. If you want to clean the swamp, you got to make sure that you actually clean it. You can't leave a little algae at the bottom and be like, it's too deep. It's not the way it works. This does not look like the Donald Trump of 2016. It doesn't even look like the Donald Trump of 2020. Just for right now, it's what I'm seeing.
Taliban, and from that time on, not one American soldier was killed. 18 months, not one soldier was killed until Biden came along and ended up giving them $85 billion worth of equipment, left many Americans behind. We lost 13 incredible lives and many, many badly wounded. The most embarrassing, I think, moment in the history of our country. And because of that, I believe that was the incentive for Vladimir Putin to invade Ukraine when he saw the incompetence of our military and our leadership more than anything else. The whole Afghanistan mess, what a shame it was. The 2024 election is our last shot to save America, and there's only one candidate.
God, is Dan is Dan my doppelganger? What the hell? Who is this guy? Does this guy has he followed me for 3 years and just literally written down everything I've said? Now he's just regurgitating it? Or could it possibly be that we have a down-to-earth, completely sensible human being on the right who understands what's going to happen? Holy crap. Dan G, call in. You're my hero.
And you know who that candidate is, who's going to get the job done. And I'm going quickly because we're given 10 points and we're given 10 quick minutes. So I'm going to go quickly, but we did a lot of things. It's hard to do it that quickly.
Better.
In the newest echelon poll of swing states, we're trouncing Biden by 7 points. In the big new premise poll, we're beating Biden 43-39, while DeSantis is losing to Biden 33-38. In other polls, I'm leading Biden by
Unless there's another Dan G in here, yes, Dan U.
6, 7, 8, and 11 points, while DeSantis is losing to Biden in all cases.
Dan, I didn't say anything was wrong. Learn to take a compliment, my friend. That's what it was.
Take a chance on that one. I'm leading in the primary polls by 50 and 55% against him and others. And a poll just came out where I'm leading in Iowa. We love Iowa by 34 points.
That's better. There you go.
I'm
That's
leading
Trump.
in New Hampshire by 35 points. And I'm leading in South Carolina by over 30 points. And that's with 2 politicians running, as you know, from South Carolina, leading by substantially more than 30 points. And a poll just came out a few minutes before I got up here. And in Ohio, the great state of Ohio, we're leading by 52 points and beating Biden by 10 points.
That's good.
That's what we have to do. I'm the only Republican to win Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania in more than 30 years, and you have to win them. Nationwide, we flipped 200 counties.
Did you hear that? What did Donald Trump just say? Michigan, Wisconsin, and Carolinas, right? What did I just say? He knows what he has to do to win. He knows that he has to go against the 6-year trend of Republicans getting pummeled in Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, Carolinas. Carolina showed a little bit of promise in the 2022 midterms. But we don't know how a national election is going to go. But he knows. He knows what he's up against. Donald Trump has a very low percentage of a pathway to winning the presidency based on the numbers right now. So he's got to win in Michigan. He's got to win in Wisconsin. He's got to take Georgia. And even then, even with Florida, he still has to address the states that flipped blue. You got to go to Nevada. You got to go to Arizona. You got to go to Colorado. You've got to figure out how to secure the Rust Belt in the Midwest and Middle America while expanding your influence in the Northeast and now Georgia. And if you don't, kiss it goodbye. Republicans already have a deficit. The moment that they walk into the Electoral College, they are already at a deficit because California and New York do not equate to Florida and Texas. You just need to understand that. They're already behind the 8 ball. So you have to understand something here is that Trump just told you what I told you, and nobody was like, oh, hey, Matt, you know what? Maybe you're not being negative. Maybe you're just telling us the truth. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to ever get that lucky.
These that voted twice for Barack Hussein Obama, including an astounding 31 counties right here in Iowa. These are counties that never went for Republicans, and they went for me. And despite 4 years of deranged opposition, we did even better the second time than we did the first time, getting more votes in 2020 than any sitting president in the.
Oh, yeah, sitting behind the 8 ball, but not the 8 ball that was found in the White House. And Dan, if a Dumb Nation member says to leave him alone, trust me, please do, especially Darla. She's been here since God was a corporal, along with most dummies. So let's all just realize you're not going to convince anyone. I try not to do that. I try to put out the facts, and if someone wants to attack me, I defend myself. But nobody's attacking you, Dan. We have some very loyal Trump supporters here, and we have people who are not Trump supporters. We have a very eclectic group of people. So I appreciate your opinion. I happen to agree with most of the things you're saying. Just understand you can sometimes get better results with a straw versus a shovel.
History of the United States. They rigged the presidential election in 2020. We're not going to allow them to rig the presidential election of 2024. They used COVID to cheat. With your vote, I will fight for Iowa like no one else is going to fight. And I've already proven that. I don't think anybody's proven it like I have. I will obliterate the deep state. We will say no on 87,000 IRS agents who want to take your money, and much worse than that. They want to weaponize the IRS just like they've weaponized the Justice Department and the FBI. And by the way, if I weren't running, I would have nobody coming after me. Or if I was losing by a lot, I would have nobody coming after me.
It's fair.
They
now
wouldn't
shut up
be
about
coming
it.
after me. I immediately cancel every single open borders policy of the Biden administration and stop the invasion of criminals in many cases coming into our country. I had the safest border in the history of our country, and we will do it again, and we'll get it done very quickly. On day one, I will sign an executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on children. I will keep men out of women's sports, and you know, nobody's been tougher on that than me. How ridiculous is that? And I will sign a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation. Can you believe we even have to say this in all 50 states? I will fully secure our elections. I will defend the
This is what I wanted. This is the Trump I want 24 hours, 7 days a week, because the Master Chief of the boat has the answers. And the one thing that kills a crew on a vessel is when the Master Chief says, I don't know. I understand he's tired. He can't be tired. I understand he's beat down. He can't be beat down. I understand that maybe he's even scared. He can't be scared. He has got to show this level of energy. Olivia disagrees. Go ahead, Liv.
No, I don't disagree. It makes me wonder that he's talking about ethanol at the beginning, and he's very downtrodden and monotone and no energy.
Did he check the box? Is that what you're saying? Was he checking boxes?
Was he checking boxes, or I mean, I hate to say it, but does he have any big donors? He's got a lot of legal expenses right now.
Well, he's got to check the box. He's in Iowa.
Like, I don't know.
So, well, hold on. Let me answer your question. And first of all, it's a fantastic point, Olivia Spear, and it gives me hope that you're. Oh my God, Kat, go love your mom.
Oh, she's been loving me, and she keeps biting me because I won't pet her.
Go love your mother. Get the hell away from me.
Oh, she's gonna climb up.
Get away.
Come here.
Go see your mom. So it's an excellent point. One, it gives me hope that you're not just a beautiful addition to the show. That's really right here.
That's the only reason I came on was the looks.
I had a comment. I left.
To
I had a comment. I left it alone.
add some beauty to the show.
There's a few things you need to do in Iowa that are always going to play. And if you listen to his first part of his speech, ethanol is always one of the biggest ones. Second is identifying Iowa as the most important state in the union when it comes to elections, because Iowa likes to feel that way. New Hampshire is another one, but Iowa is like one of the big ones. The third is don't you dare put down corn in a way of cooking. Popcorn, corn on the cob, cornbread, no putting down corn in any way, shape, or form, or high fructose corn syrup. And the last thing is you have to support agriculture in Iowa. It's extremely important. And if you speak poorly about any of those things, it's really a kiss of death. So the fact that he checked the box, maybe it's not something he's passionate about, but I've seen him talk in Iowa before, in fact, 10 or 12 times, and it's never been that droll. He's never been that way. But he does also feed off of his crowd. And this could be his transition point. This could be where he starts talking about policy. This could be his time to really come out and just say, you know what, now I'm going to run. I like that he said, Ron DeSantis, just, okay, get it out there, punch him in the face once, and then now talk about your policy. I like his cadence now. I did not like it at the beginning. I was very concerned. That's why I waited to say what I was going to say, and I'm not going to say it. Because I don't think it's necessary to say it now. But he is off teleprompter, which is usually when he's the best, but he's reading from a card, but he also has 10 minutes. So I think what people said to him is, dude, you got to get out there and read these things and do not go off frickin' topic. And he's doing very well at that, but a restrained Trump can be a boring Trump, okay? So that's what I'm going to say.
Judeo-Christian values of our nation's founding. I won Iowa twice. By really a lot. We've set records, and together we will crush crooked Joe Biden, the most crooked president in the history of...
Sorry.
This is
sorry.
Trump.
No, I need to move. I'm sorry.
What?
I forgot to switch gears. Yes, this is Trump.
Very, very old school Trump. This is what he used to
Our country by far, and also grossly incompetent, doesn't know what he's doing. He's destroying our country. We will win the election big, and we will make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Why'd you cut the iMac? He still has a minute on stage. I didn't cut it. Who's controlling the iMac? I'm controlling my iMac. Why'd you cut it? You still had a minute left on stage. That's what
Hold on.
Well, you still have a minute left on stage.
Once again, your Republican Party of Iowa.
Did you hear that?
No. What?
You going to bed? Yes. Give me a hug quick.
Take the cat.
So I don't know if you guys heard that, but that's why we wear headphones, is we heard there was a production supervisor on there that said, why did you cut him off? He had a minute left. And the guy says, I didn't. And he says, yes, you did. Why did you cut him off early? He had a minute left. And it was repeatedly said by the production supervisor, and it was a hot mic. They cut him off early. Did everyone hear that, or was it just me?
Somebody just said
Yes.
that wasn't 10 minutes.
Yes. Why did they cut him off? He still had a minute left on stage. Holy shit. All right, so I got to go back and get this clip.
Yes.
I heard it too. We all heard it. Okay, good. Okay, good. Good. That's why I was like, shh, because my daughter was banging in my ear.
Can you rewind it?
I can't because it's live.
Oh.
Let me see if anyone. No one's going to come after Trump. He's in the lead.
Was State Chairman Jeff Kaufman.
Oh, who gives a shit? All right, so I'm going to give you my. I'm going to go back and I'll put that, and maybe we do a show, little mini show it over in the weekend. I'll give you my opinion. Liv, I want to hear your opinion first. Out of all the candidates that you had a chance to hear, and I know you didn't hear Vivek Ramaswamy, but that's because Trump came on, and I didn't care who was talking. I was going to cut. The thing is Vivek is constitutionalist. He's well spoken. He's very, very good at what he does. I'm sure he had a very good speech. He's never not impressed me. But based on the candidates that you did see, who'd you like the most? And don't say what you think people want to hear.
Still not impressed. There's no one right now that is making me go like what Trump did in 2016, where I was like, holy cow, he's got my vote no matter what. No one's really doing it, including Trump. I mean, his first part of his speech was very just boring and mundane, and the last few minutes, it was definitely more peppy and very reminiscent of his old 2016 and 2020 campaigns, but I don't know. I'm still a little wary with all his legal troubles. How can he be in court constantly and be on the campaign trail and focus on it when he's having to focus on this? And I don't know. That worries me a little. But no one else has really, really impressed me. I mean, Nikki Haley has impressed me at one point. So has DeSantis. Whatever Scott, his name is, Rick Scott, whoever he is.
It's Rick Scott, not Tim Scott.
Yeah,
Tim
guy.
Scott's Florida.
Okay.
Sorry.
Hasn't really impressed me at all. He changed like personalities like 4 times when he was speaking up there.
He did.
It was just like, who are we getting? Which personality are we getting now? So
right.
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting until it narrows, the field narrows, and we actually start getting the candidates start getting more, I guess, animated and more trying to pull your vote in, I guess.
Yeah. I think this. I'm sick and tired of Republicans playing the Republican card. Like, I want conservatives to talk about fiscal responsibility. I want them to talk about family values. I want them to stop allowing Democrats to control the narrative of what we talk about. We need to address infrastructure in this country. Major bridges, airports, causeways, roadways, our travel system. It has not kept up with the evolution and innovation of technology. Our roads are crowded. There are more congested cities than ever before. It is difficult to traverse the landscape of this country more than it ever was. You could go cross country and literally not see anybody for miles. And you could go through the Badlands in the southern route and you wouldn't see anybody. Now, there's congestion everywhere. We've got to address that. We have to address about what we're going to do about oil production in this country and how we're going to stop worrying about offshore drilling and what impact that has versus allowing ourselves to be dependent upon foreign oil, which in my opinion is a bigger danger than the bluegill frickin' mackerel. I just don't care. We have got to identify how we secure with a higher level of innovation from China and Russia when it comes to missile systems and how we defend ourselves from hypersonic missiles. I believe that is going to be something that is a very big danger to the United States. And if China is going to preemptive attack the United States, and that's what everyone thinks, which I don't, but if they believe that, then we have to address electromagnetic pulse and the delivery system that comes in without a countermeasure. We don't have integrated air defense systems in the United States. The only place in the United States that has IADS is Washington, D.C. And the reason is because it's defended like Fort Knox. We have to figure out how we are going to incentivize military people without incentivizing their penises and vaginas and start incentivizing their hearts and minds. And the only way you do that is through patriotic service. It's not college tuition. It's not giving signing bonuses. It's none of that. It comes down to their patriotic duty and getting that back in America. I want conservatives to talk about balancing the budget. I want them to talk about what they're going to do in their first 100 days, because the first 100 days are the most important of their presidency, and everything else is essentially running for president again, because every cycle it's earlier and earlier. A president truly has a year and a half before they're running for office again, and those first 100 days are critical. And I want to have them hit the ground running. I want Republicans right now, not in the primaries, or excuse me, not in the general, right now, to make a contract with Black America, make contract with Brown America, and make contract with women in America right now. And if Republicans wait for the general, it's going to be a horrible, horrible experience for them. They have got to contract with African Americans right now. They've got 12% possibly locked up. They need 16 or 18 to win this election. Women, they need to see at least a 15 to 16 point bump to secure this election. They have got to get the Latin population as well. They have got to play on the legal immigrants of this country to get out and vote. They have got to lean on the Second Amendment owners, and they have to lean on the Christians to get out and vote. If we do not see 85 million people vote, we will lose this election. So until I hear those things, and most importantly, there has to be a declaration that being an American is not something to be ashamed of, that your patriotism is not something that you should be afraid of waving, that there is a difference between J6ers and Republicans and conservatives, that you can support Trump and not necessarily believe all the other bullshit that's assigned to it, that you can support Biden and not necessarily believe all the bullshit that's assigned to it. These people are not celebrities. They are not our heroes. They are not to be idolized. They are not to be worshiped. They are not demagogues. They are simply voices and vessels for the American people. And the moment that their voice is not aligned with ours is the moment that they need to be retired from office. I want to hear somebody stand up and not do the talking points of this party that has no platform and try to create platform and get back to what we are, because the conservative and Republican movement is very clearly defined, and this ain't it. And I didn't hear that tonight. I love that Trump talked about the things that he did, and then he started sprinkling on what he was going to do. That's great. But what you need to do as a Republican in this race right now, and if DeSantis, listen, if DeSantis is Haley, if Scott, if Trump, if Hutchinson, whatever, if these guys wanted one bit of advice, here's what I would do. And Olivia, this is for you to listen to too.
I'm listening.
I would, if I was Ron DeSantis, say, I am done talking about what I'm going to do as president. It's not the general election. I am running to be the Republican nominee. And here is what I'm going to do to have the Republicans and the RNC establish a party platform that is clear and identifiable for every American who wants it. I am going to become the big tent party, and we are going to challenge the RNC that we are not going to be held hostage by their campaign dollars. We are not going to be held hostage by the FEC. We are not going to be held hostage to the political fat cats. We are not going to be held hostage by anybody. We are going to be responsible for the American people that put us here and move us forward with the small dollar donations, that they want a party platform and they need to know where Republicans stand. And if they are truly Republicans, and how can they possibly know that when we have not established a party platform since 2016? As your candidate for the Republican Party, I'm not doing anything for the country until I do that, because that is the best thing I can do for this country, is to identify the Republican Party and find out what we stand for again. And right now, none of us know. If they would do that, if any one of them would do that, they would earn 10 million votes tomorrow. Libertarians would jump over. You would get moderates jumping over. Blue-collar Democrats would have a thing to think about. And all you would do is sit down with the RNC and show that on camera and invite every Republican on stage that we are going to go into session, and like the Pope, we're not going to show red smoke. Is that what it is? Red smoke, green smoke? I don't even know that, but the Vatican does. But when we finally have a clear party platform, we will pop red smoke, Republican red, and let everybody know across the land that this is what Republicans stand for. And then we will go our separate ways and tell you how we're going to do those things and how we're going to instill those things through legislation so you can vote for the best president. The person that does that is a leader. Person that does that gets my vote. I didn't see anyone do that tonight.
White smoke. Somebody said white smoke.
Is it white smoke?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that when they've made a decision, white smoke?
I think white smoke is when you're giving up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No. This is when the Vatican comes together and nominates or decides on a new
Somebody
pope.
said black and white smoke.
So when is it that they haven't decided? Because they still go back into Congress when they haven't decided. Is that
Black
white?
smoke means no pope chosen. So
No
white,
pope. So white smoke
must
is
be
pope.
mean.
Yeah, that would make sense since the ceremonial garb of the pope is usually white, and then the cardinals and everybody else has different color. That would make sense. Squall's saying something. What's Squall saying? Well, let's
He's
see.
basically, it's hard to take anybody seriously that refers to their cat as their child, or he's being jumped on.
He's just a putz.
He's being jumped on by everyone.
He's just
so.
he's a putz. He's a
So
putz.
I responded, and then he's like, "I wasn't talking about you." Well,
Dude,
yeah,
you're
the.
Hey, are you sure you're not a liberal, Squall? You're pretty much a fucking victim wherever you go, no matter what. You're always a victim. Why are you picking on me? I'm just saying.
I was like,
Squall, this show isn't for you, dude. It's basically for people with penises and not vaginas. So get the sand out of yours. Go get some douche. Get that fresh feeling back. OB is a wonderful product. And then come back when you're man up a little bit. Dude, seriously, your skin is way too thin, bro. This isn't the show for you. We speak our minds here. And if you come after my wife, I'm going to fucking end you verbally. And I haven't even begun to define myself. So please, you don't want to be shellacked. In fact, I'm going to ask the mods to ban you because I want to save you the mental torment of me destroying you publicly. So let's
don't say anything.
Let's pop. No, you can say something. Just don't disrespect my wife. It's not a good idea. You're not gonna survive that. And you can tell me how tough you are and how you're gonna beat my ass. Yeah, whatever, dude. I've been dealing with clowns like you for a lot longer. And your problem's not with me. You've been like this for a lot longer than me. So come on. That's exactly what I was talking about from the start. 6th grade class president. Fuck you, dude. You wouldn't say that to me in person. Didn't I just say you were going to do that? Didn't I just say you were going to do that? You're going to puff up like a bantam rooster. Dude, you ain't got it. You ain't got it. Trust me. You don't go get your lunch, get a ladder, and then you're definitely going to be hungry when you wake up in the hospital. You're going to be starving. Dan G's here. I'm going to talk to Jay. I want to deal with Squall a little bit more. I just told you, dude, before you even said it, I am so far ahead of you. I even told you what you're going to do, that you were going to puff up and be all tough.
What did you say? I missed it.
I would say it to you in person. I would have, I don't care how big you are, how tough you are. If you're going to fight me because I tell you that you're being a douche nozzle, then bring it on, sucker. Whenever you think you're man enough.
There's a big no. You don't disrespect me in front of him.
You have no, anybody that has to threaten me online doesn't have what it takes. You don't have what it takes, bro. And if you did, you would use your words because it means you're a man of intellect, and all you are is a man of ill action. You don't do anything. You have never done anything. So stop pretending you would, okay? Great. Good conversation. I'm going to answer the phone with Dan G now. If Squall says anything else derogatory about Olivia, ban his. Thank you. Dan is in the... Oh, wait, you're the one that just said I'll end up in the hospital. I did after you threatened me, dipshit. You would end up in the hospital. First of all, you weren't going to make it in my town. I know the sheriffs. I know the FBI and U.S. Marshals who are here, and all of them got my back, and they like me a hell of a lot more than you. You ain't going to get on my property. The moment you step on my property, I'll know you're here. And if just in case you get past my glass breaks and my alarm system, and you get back to police officers and my neighbor who is force recon, and you get across the SEAL who I served with across the street, and you get rid of the 86-year-old who is a airborne ranger and served in Vietnam on Deck and 10, who could also take you at 86 years old, you would then have to encroach upon my door, and you would have to fight a family of 4 who all shoot better than you. You're not going to win that fight, bro. So don't threaten me. I've dealt with people much more intimidating than you. Go bark, little boy. Go bark. Dan is in the house. Dan in here. Dan had some nice things to say. Dan, welcome. Good to have you here. We have a showboating tough guy online.
You invited the call, so I thought I'd take you up on it.
I agree, but I gotta read off what Dan our Squall said again. Squall White, because I believe that's your name. It's anybody that has to make up their own name. I mean,
Reminds me of a seagull.
you're the guy that gave himself your own nickname in college, aren't you? You're like, hey guys, call me Spunky, call me Scooter. People are like, no, dude, we're gonna call you Randy because that's your name. You didn't get a nickname and you're jealous of it. He says, you think you're the master at provoking and twist shit. You can't say shit. Why can't you say shit? Nobody's going to ban you for shit. Don't you never said I was coming to your property, but I'll be happily invite you to mine. Why would I go and see you? I have no desire. My penis isn't that small where I need to go ahead and fight you, bro. You want to take a shot at the title, you come see me. All right, Dan, what do you want to talk about? It's your nickel, brother. Good to have you on the show.
Dan, welcome.
Thank you. How's the audio? Testing 1, 2.
You sound fantastic,
Great.
man. You sound crystal clear. You look good, too.
Great.
Do you have a show that you do, or do you just have a really good setup?
No. I just, no, I don't have a show to do at all. First time I actually done anything like this.
All right. Well, tell us what you want to talk about.
Well, Matt, tell me how this plays out. I've been around long enough, and this is, the most depressing situation. Obviously, Biden's not going to run. I never thought he would. I think it's going to be Newsom for the Dems. Of course, everybody thinks that's insane. But again, the guy was reelected here. He survived a recall. The worst portions of the country that are suffering because of him love him. So he's quite an excellent communicator. He comes off as a moderate, seems convincing, and I don't want to upset the people in the chat, but Trump does not stand a chance. And if Trump does not get smart and allow his minions to shift their vote, we're doomed. So how does that not play out that way?
So you made some good points. And I appreciate you asking. By the way, Squall, Dan's more of a man than you are because he called in. Anyway, that immediately takes him out of vagina classification. And not that there's anything wrong with a vagina, but it shouldn't be attached to a man.
It's called a
Dylan
bonus
Mulvaney.
hole now. You're not supposed to call it a V.
Yeah.
You can
that's why
Google
I
that.
have-
It's called a
Bonus hole.
That's why I have my show.
Yeah.
That my what's hilarious is that my daughter on her phone has for my wife's entry on her contacts is birthing
No,
birth giver
Birth giver.
as a joke. So
She's got you as old man.
someone banned Squall. Oh, bummer. You guys shouldn't have banned him. He didn't threaten Olivia. The moment that I don't care what he says about me. The guy's not going to show up, dude. I love those guys. Anyway, let me answer your questions because they're very good questions, and I think I've got them all in my head. Gavin Newsom was most assuredly, he is shadowing Joe Biden, and everything that Joe Biden is doing, he's about 30 days behind. Wherever Joe Biden pops in or wherever Joe Biden talks, Newsom follows up and plays cleanup on aisle 12. Now, the reason they're doing that, obviously, is what you said, in case he keels over. Why? Because there's a very high risk of that. And second, he just may be too tired to run. He may lose his marbles, or the DNC sees the numbers and says, you need to pop smoke. We're going to do the one thing we should never do, which is give up on an incumbent. It's it's the home court advantage of home court advantages, having an incumbent president. You know this and I know this. Only like 3 have not won re-election with a popularity rating that's halfway decent. But Joe Biden's popularity sucks, and they know this. So you put Newsom in the backyard for a possible 2028 run, but you also, in case of emergency, he's fresh, he's familiar. Now, you said he was a moderate. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think he presents himself as a moderate.
I'm sorry. I said he comes across as a moderate. We know he's not.
I disagree that he comes across.
He credibly convinces people that he is, much like Obama did.
Yeah, but see, the moderates, he may convince the Democrats of that, or he may convince the Republicans, but he doesn't convince moderates of that, because moderates are 70% of the voting base in the United States. They are the smartest. The thing about moderates is that they know that going against the Second Amendment is stupid. They know banning abortion completely is stupid. They know building up empirical states for defense is stupid. They know globalism is stupid and all nationalism is stupid. That's why they're called moderates. They understand that both sides of the fence are good. Gavin Newsom is full-term abortion. He is absolutely 100% for gun grabs and has said so, and is pushing forward an amendment to gun grab. He believes in cutting military spending. He also believes in not in populism, but globalism. He believes in a new dollar for the world. He believes that the United States should essentially be the leader of the free world, and by doing that makes it not free. Gavin Newsom is most essentially a progressive, and he pretends to be a blue-collar Democrat, which he's not. But what he is he has amazing polish. He has a very good stage presence. He's easy on the eyes for the female crowd. And he has a lot of those Kennedy-like qualities, and he would be a very high-quality candidate for the Democrats. I agree with you, 120%. I believe Joe Biden's going to run. You're almost too late. Voting stations have already been assigned. Joe Biden has those. I've checked them, and you can only assign those to one person. And Joe Biden, more than likely, with 75% of the polling stations in for the Democrats, is going to Joe Biden, unless something tragic happens. I can imagine a Kamala pop, and putting a Newsom in as a vice president would also be a very smart play, because not only does it ensure California, it guarantees Nevada, it guarantees Arizona, it guarantees Colorado, and that we know for sure, in case those show any wavering. Now, to get to Trump, I believe everything you just said, that Trump does not stand a chance to win. I don't agree with it at all. I think he has no chance. There's no clear path to victory to 270. In the best case scenario, Joe Biden wins by 3 points, and Donald Trump is down by 1 point. At the very best. At the very worst, he loses by 45 to 60 electoral votes with ease. It hasn't gotten better since 2022. It wasn't good in 2018. I don't think it was even close in 2020, and nothing has changed that trajectory. So nothing has shown me that he'll win Michigan, where Whitmer is still the most popular governor in the United States. It doesn't show me Wisconsin. There hasn't been any major changes in Wisconsin. In fact, a lot of their voting for local districts went blue. The Carolinas don't look very stable. Virginia will stay, unfortunately, blue. Ohio is wishy-washy at best, where it was very secure in 2020. Then you got to look at Georgia. Then you got to look at Nevada. You got to look at Arizona. And there's just too many missed opportunities for Trump to win right now. So what do? You give them their sacrificial lamb, and you allow him to go through all of these court cases. You allow the Democrats to do what they're going to do, which is invoke the 14th on him. They're going to say he disqualifies for election, and you tie that up with a SCOTUS, which it will have to be seen by the SCOTUS eventually, but they'll get through the district courts, get through the federal courts. And then once that takes place, it will be well after it'll be posthumous from the election. So the Republican Party will have a reason to say we can move on. Trump can save face and ultimately put in a new candidate, and hopefully that will happen in the next 45 to 60 days. That's my vision for what takes place. Whether that happens or not, I don't know, because ultimately Trump might say, fuck you all, I'm running as a third-party candidate. But then the last thing, and then I'm going to shut up, Dan, and let you say whatever you want. Joe Biden has a real big problem, because you've got RFK who's sitting in the wings, and the libertarians like RFK. They like what he says. They like total free drugs everywhere. They like no restrictions on anything. They like borderline anarchy. That's libertarians. They want no government, where Republicans want limited and Democrats want big. So I believe that if RFK gets in the fray, that is the only thing that will help Trump win, because I believe that 7 to 10% of the vote will go to RFK if he actually gets in and gets enough to be on the ballot. And if he does, then Joe Biden will not be the president of the United States, and Donald Trump will win by default. But there's a whole lot of my grandmother has balls, and therefore she's my grandfather in there. There's a whole lot of ifs.
That has new meaning now these days, that saying.
Yeah, it does. It used to be able to say, my grandmother had balls, therefore she's my grandfather. There's a lot of ifs. Dan, I want to get your perspective. Thanks for letting me go off, but I think I answered everything you said.
Sure. And first of all, question, is that a fact that you really don't, it is too late? I mean, historically, it's too late for another Democrat to overtake. Okay, first of all, we didn't think Biden would make it through his first year, let alone another campaign. And on all this stuff with Hunter, that's pretty big. It's how could he? My personal opinion is he's got to deal with Newsom. Don't embarrass him, and Biden will support Newsom, and Biden will back out in a respectful way for whatever reason, and then Newsom will move to the forefront. But you really do think it's too late?
Yeah, these polling stations ultimately declare. Now, it's different. The reason what you're thinking is because he's an incumbent. You usually very rarely have challengers in an incumbency. You don't have it. He is the clear. there is no Democrat president-elect or Democrat choice for president-elect or whatever.
But Matt,
He is
these
the
are
president of the United
extraordinary
States.
circumstances.
It doesn't matter. It's not
We
extraordinary.
got a president who's clearly got dementias, clearly, and
yeah.
we've got a Trump who clearly has a lot of issues. How did we get here?
Well, we got here because
I know how we got here, but why haven't we got this out of our system 4 years ago and 8 years ago and get back to something normal?
Because there's a few reasons. One, I want to answer your original question, is that he clearly, or your comment, he clearly has dementia. Listen, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to diagnose the president of the United States as having dementia or not. I will tell you there are clear signs of mental capacity issues, cognitive dissonance and disconnect. Mitch McConnell, I mean, he's
Let me
old.
clarify, Matt. I said dementias, and by that I mean, does he categorize as a diagnosis for dementia, quote unquote? No, but any neurologist, any doctor will tell you 80% of people over 80 have dementias. He has word finding issues. He has all these issues. That doesn't categorize him as Alzheimer's, but he's clearly a very old guy.
Well, I want us to be careful saying, how did we get here? Because we've been here for a while, because Ronald Reagan had Alzheimer's and everybody knew it. So, you know, we find out, you know, later after his presidency that there were clear indicators of Alzheimer's and tests that he was incapable of passing. And they kind of swept it under the rug and said that his cabinet will take care of him. How did we get here? Well, we got here because, and this is not going to be very popular with anybody who's a Democrat, is that we had a black candidate that could have stopped racial divide in America and decided to wield power and create a racial war inside the United States when he had the most power, even more than any white president, to instead of galvanizing racial tensions in the United States, to stop them. And this created a party divide that we've never seen before. It created that either you love the police or you're a bootlicker. That either you have full-term abortions or you hate women, that there is a pay gap and that women are inappropriately paid in the United States, or you're a chauvinist pig. It became, there were no lines of delineation to the middle. It became the haves and have-nots. And somehow the moral authority and the moral platitudes, Democrats became the hierarchy on morality in this country, which baffles me. And Republicans focused on something they never should have. They failed in 2008 the moment they allowed the religious zealots to come in. They allowed the Tea Party to come to power, fracture the Republican Party, and sold America that Sharia law and Muslims were the reason for the degeneration of America, when it really was Citizens United and giving companies and corporations the power of a person to have protected speech through cash. Those are the things that destroyed America. And Republicans and Democrats are both responsible. That's my answer.
Another question, if I may. Why?
Sure. 12 inches.
What's that?
12 inches. It's a joke. It's a penis joke, Dan. Go ahead.
Right. Okay. Yeah. What is wrong with super smart, well-communicating Republicans like Ted Cruz and DeSantis? I mean, I'm mystified.
Yep.
Why cannot they get traction?
Sure. It's a great question. Kim Kardashian, Jersey Shore, The Bachelor, and somehow intelligence became secondary to charisma. And Republicans never had it before. Kennedy, charisma was always the Democrats' aisle. They always had it, even though they had people like LBJ. We had Nixon. We didn't have a Kennedy. But at some point, intelligence became the Democrat trope, is that they became the party of education. They became the rich white elitists. And Republicans were middle ground, focused in the Rust Belt, weren't intelligent, were blue collar. And somehow we fell into those misnomers that we were flyover states, and Republicans lost intelligence when we were a very intelligent party. I mean, the Newt Gingrich, Ronald Reagan, and you could go to Fitzpatrick and ambassadors in New York and overseas that were just incredible. You look at Colin Powell, who unfortunately is more of a liberal now today. But you look at generals like Schwarzkopf, and you look at Ollie North, who I've had the pleasure of meeting. And these were intelligent, well-grounded men that had charisma in the brain box, but not necessarily the look and panache of a Kennedy, Ollie North aside. So I believe that the dumbification of our party happened when we became, with more importantly, that Tea Party, where the Koch brothers came in, purchased it, and we became known for being religious zealots. And somehow that education was a bad thing, and going and turning a wrench was more important. We had Joe the plumber, for God's sakes, as a national idol, and not Joe the professor or Joe neurologist or Joe scientist or astrophysicist. And I think we curtailed to the lowest common denominators in our party, and unfortunately that was a mistake. And over generational change, we become the party of some very dumb opinions. But Ted Cruz is fucking boring. And he's boring to me, and I love politics, and I just want to shoot myself when I hear him talk, no matter how smart he is, because he should be a Supreme Court justice. He is a constitutional lord of knowledge, but he's boring.
Well, I think what you're describing is less the fault of Republicans than it is the fact that people are just stupid, frankly, and the Democrats know how to communicate to that crowd. And I don't know how we get beyond that. I don't think we do, frankly. And I hate to say it, but I think the country is going to go the way of California, which I abandoned. And I don't see how this gets fixed or changed.
We left too. How it works is that you have to get into the black communities and sell them on the fact that for 75 years, Democratic policy has put them exactly where they are. Fatherless homes, violence, pathways to criminalization. No corporations are going into the hood because they don't want to take the risk. We have to incentivize corporations to go into these areas, destroy the railroad track mentality and the east side of the track mentality, and we have to garner the black vote and the brown vote by showing them that Republican values and family values align with them and traditionally align with their beliefs. But the problem is nobody goes and demonstrates in these cities. Nobody goes to Cleveland. Nobody goes to the lower west side of Manhattan. Nobody goes to Detroit. And the reason why is they've given up on these places. And I'm sorry, that's why Bill Clinton won. Bill Clinton won because of, one, Ross Perot, and second is he went to the places that other white people are afraid to go. That's the truth. You got to have a contract with Black America. That's how Reagan won. And if you do not, Trump had it in 2020. He just put it out too late. And I may have heard me earlier where I said Republicans need to say right now, I'm not running for president. I'm running for your vote to be the Republican nominee, and we are going to establish our party platforms and values right here, right now, because you can go to the rnc.com and you can go to the Republican National website. We don't have a party platform. We haven't had one since 2016. You don't know what it takes to be a Republican anymore, neither do I.
There is never communicated well to those who need to hear it, be it the Black, Latino crowd, or is it Latinx, whatever. It's just not being communicated well. And when candidates contact me, I go to their website and I text them or call them back and say, you're not getting a penny from me. You can't communicate, period.
You can't.
And if you can't communicate, I don't care if you win or not, we're not going to change this country. And Trump is an amazing communicator in a very simple way. And that works. And unfortunately, I know a lot of campaign consultants, and all of them hate Trump. All of them will tell you never do what Trump said, never take Trump's style or his direct way of speaking. But that's exactly why Republicans aren't doing well. Trump has literally redefined how to communicate, and they need to get with the program. They need to fire their consultants.
That's right.
But
I can't tell you, listen, I'm not going to sit here and toot my titties, but I've been told by plenty of people to get into the fray and go and help Republicans win races. And there's a simple way. You go to your party and you say, we're not going to marginalize the LGBTQ community anymore. We're not going to do it because we believe in the right and pursuit of happiness. And just because we don't agree with them from a religious perspective doesn't mean that they can't be a member of our party. We need to embrace the LGBTQ community. We need to teach them that there's a different way.
For Trump? I mean, Trump is probably the only presidential candidate in the history of the country that consistently supported LGBTQ.
Absolutely.
And he didn't get any credit for it.
Well, he didn't get any credit because he has a media who was against him. Just remember that they all loved him in 2000, posthumous from or previously from 2016. They loved him. Everyone loved him. Don King loved him. You look at Al Sharpton, loved him. You look at Jesse Jackson. Shit, he won Rainbow Coalition Awards. He won the NAACP Awards. He only became a racist when he started saying things like, I'm going to appoint conservative judges. I'm going to build a wall. And the moment he did that shit, they said, oh my God, we've supported a wolf in sheep's clothing. And that destroyed him. But there is a larger constituency of homosexuals who support Trump than you can actually fathom. It's just not enough. And Trump needs to come out and needs to say that transgenderism is not a part of the LGBTQ community. And it's not. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be LGBTQ. It should be the LGB community. There's a difference. And transgenderism is much different than homosexuality. And for anyone to say that transgenderism is the same, then you are lumping mental choice and mental issue, and I might get banned on YouTube for saying this, and I don't really give a shit, with something that becomes a preference. And I think that's a horrible mistake. And I think we have to delineate the two. And if we don't, we are going to ostracize ourselves a very large portion of not only homosexual community, but the minority community, which owns a larger portion of homosexuals than any other demographic in America. So you also got to go get those women back. He lost the not the rural vote, but he lost the suburban vote because he stood up on that dais and he proclaimed that COVID wasn't a big deal, as people aren't able to see their mothers dying and their daughters dying and sisters dying, and were locked out, and they thought he was flippant, and they thought he made a huge mistake in his presentation. Listen, I love Trump. I've seen him at his best, and I've seen him in person at his best, and I have personal testimonial of what a good human being he is, because he is. He's not a shitbag. He relates to people. People actually love him. Even people who oppose him, who sit next to him, they love Trump. The problem is that he doesn't know when to yield, and he tilts, and he sees the world as a nail and he's a hammer, and that is his biggest mistake. And it is proven over time to be his biggest mistake. Liv, did you have anything to say in here except I want to go?
No, I'm just listening to you guys. This is way above my pay grade. I'm so out of the league right now.
You're amazing. Shut up. I love you. I think you're awesome.
I think Matt, you're definitely. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Dan. It's you.
You're a superior communicator, and you really are. And we were basically saying that one of the problems Republicans have is that they don't communicate well. But I just don't know that it's going to matter in the end. The book banning, for example, we all know no books are being banned.
We know
but
this.
the average housewife assumes literally that DeSantis is choosing books that will never be read again, and they're being banned, quote unquote.
It's ridiculous.
And we all know that these books, but many of these books have literal pornography in them, and they're in kids' schools' libraries. That message, despite DeSantis and others saying it loud and clear and simple, it does not get through. Certainly anybody under 30 is not hearing that message. And if they did, they simply would tune it out and not believe it. The Democrats own the media. And I'm not saying it's certainly not conspiratorial way, but they own the Twitters, the everything that any young person is exposed to. People under 30 have probably never read a magazine article, an entire newspaper article in their lives. They certainly don't read any books. Even in high school in California, you can find one high school kid that's read an entire book in his or her life. It just doesn't happen. So if it doesn't fit in a tweet, they're not getting it, and they'll believe whatever the tweet says. The easier it is to find the truth in this country, the stupider younger people are. So I don't know how that ever gets fixed.
Well, it starts with making not only education more prominent and creating choice in the educational system, and abandon a failing public education system, which has been one of the biggest money sucks ever outside of the NEA. It's a failed system. We need choice. I'm not saying do public schools altogether, but we need vouchers. We need private schools. We need choice. We need homeschooling incentives and tax breaks for people who do that and parents who choose to stay home and raise their children. Those things, the free market system is the greatest one in the world. And if we don't let it work, it will fail. So you can't do that. You need to also, same thing with insurance. You need to limit the restrictions for importing medicine from different countries. I mean, Canada doesn't want to poison its people, for God's sakes. Why can't we get medicine from Canada? Why don't we allow tri-state, healthcare units to compete against each other? Why not have Nebraska, Oklahoma, and Colorado have a healthcare system where they compete against each other and try to provide the best coverage and have it cross state lines? There's a lot of options. Most importantly is we need to encourage self-efficacy. And self-efficacy is probably one of the most rare and ineffectual things that we've lost over the last 20 years. And it started with taking woodshop out and taking, working on vehicles and automotive classes and home ec, where you taught people how to balance a checkbook. And we have a bunch of 18-year-old babies who have no idea what to do because their parents never taught them anything, including self-efficacy, self-efficiency, for those people who are not following along with the word. And they have to learn from the school of hard knocks, when ultimately they should have been slowly eased into that progression at 13, 14, 15 years old. My daughter is learning that she still isn't, she doesn't have to pay for her pizza or her swim event or going to the amusement park. Mom and dad still pay, but I've set a very clear expectation that chores will be done in order for us to pay. And then at 15 or 16, that stops when we pay for her insurance, but she will pay for her car and she will pay for her entertainment. And then at 18, if she still lives here, she pays rent. That stuff's not going on anymore.
It's
So
not.
I think,
and I don't know how it comes back when we've done away with the SAT tests in California because they're racist. Right. And now math, I don't know if you know, math has been changed in California. Your life experiences are to be taken into account for your math answers.
I've done a show on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that doesn't get turned back. Well, we were all distracted with LGBTQ plus Latinx. Somehow they've determined that merit is what's destroying this country, and they're doing away with merit now. Where did that come from? And what kind of slippery slope is that?
Have you ever read up on, it's a fantastic point, and you ask a great question because I happen to know the answer. Have you had a chance to read up on the pharaohs in Mesopotamia and the Egyptians and any of that over your?
Tell me where to start.
You should. And a lot of that, everyone talks about the Trilateral Commission and the Masons and the Eye of Ra and whatever. And talk about the Illuminati and all of those hidden society. But the answer is somewhere in there, and it has nothing to do with conspiratorial type of thinking. It has to do with that the pharaohs ultimately recognized that the slaves at one point would become self-aware, that 100 million slaves had a very easy time to take out the pharaohs that only numbered in the hundreds. And when they started asking them to do almost ritualistic sacrifice for the gods by going out in 118, 119 degree sun and moving tons and tons of earth to create testaments to the gods in their name, which they were, that eventually they would rebel. And the only way to stop that rebellion and quash that rebellion wasn't whips, wasn't depriving them of basic necessities, because all those things took place. It ultimately was to steal them of the ability to have education and to testify to that education by documenting it, by writing it down, by putting it on parchment, by doing cave drawings and doing hieroglyphics in order to tell a story to the previous generations, to capture that story and then teach it to the younger generation. That's why they banned writing utensils. They banned the overall alphabet of the time, and stop them from being able to capture and teach the traditions that would ultimately stop them from repeating the mistakes of the past. This is what's happening here. You take away cursive, you take away art, you take away the ability to have deductive reasoning, you take away self-efficacy and have them become fully reliant on the government, and then you have democratic principles and you have people who are waiting to adopt it because we understand that that's what they want. They want people subservient to big government. And when you make them dependent upon it, then they will vote no other way. And limiting government ultimately, they think, takes away their freedoms and their personal rights, when actually it would be the one thing that would set them free. This is very reminiscent of what happened in ancient Egypt. And it's just basically we've changed some scenery, and we have, instead of, gas or kerosene based lighting, we have incandescent lighting and fluorescent and some fancier gadgets, but it's the same.
You're probably right, but it's very depressing, very dismal. I don't see this ending well, not in our lifetime. Well, Matt, I appreciate you letting me do this. Love your show. I've been watching for a long time on Twitch, but you guys don't even know we're there anymore. I think I'm the only one there. So
I gave up on Twitch when they started throttling me, and they don't want me on there. They don't want me on there.
Oh.
And I'm a video gamer, which is interesting, but they don't want me on there. Facebook is my Facebook. Yeah, but listen, brother, anytime you want to come on, I'd love to have you on it. I love the conversation.
Thank you very much, Dan. It's a great conversation.
Appreciate it. Thank you both.
Thanks, brother. Talk to you soon. That's refreshing. That is amazing to see. I've lost chat capability. I don't know about you, but I can't see any chat. I haven't been able to see chat for the last
I'm still going.
25 minutes. Is it? I just want to do last minute. It was a great end to the week. I had an amazing time. I think Dan gave me goosebumps. I love talking to an intellectual who actually defers to me. There's no bigger honor. Like I have goosebumps right now. The guy's a very smart man, very intelligent, very well spoken, very educated, and to have him be patient and let me talk, it's one of the highest honors you can pay a human being. So Dan, thank you for that. It absolutely made my weekend.
Great call.
Yeah, made my weekend. Olivia, you have a minute? Anything you want to talk about besides let's go play Diablo and eat some yogurt?
I'm hungry. I don't know.
Folks, thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show.
Oh, wait.
Oh.
We got 4 more followers on Rumble. We only have 5 more to go.
Folks, if you have not followed us on Rumble, please follow us on Rumble. In fact, do it now. If you have not had a chance to follow us on Rumble, we're asking you to go create an account, even if you don't want to, even if you plan on never, ever watching us. We're trying to break that 1,000 century mark, and it would mean a great deal if you would be so kind. So please hop over there and do that.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
Dan's back on YouTube, and he says he pointed an arrow at his name and said high school dropout. Are you a high school dropout, Dan?
Watch this. He won't believe me.
I would be completely shocked if you were.
Dan, you know who else is a high school dropout? This guy. I dropped out of high school when I was 17 years old when I moved to Colorado because I was kicked out of the California school district. I was banned from going to any school in California. So I went and got my GED, tried to join the Army, changed my mind because they wanted me to be a tanker when I'm 6'4" in an Abram. So I waited about 9 months, went and talked to the Navy after reading Jack Ryan books. They said you need to have your high school diploma. They pulled the GED prerequisite. So I went and graduated a full year of senior in high school in 3 months by going to adult education, which show up at 7 a.m. and leave at 7 at night, do the AM and PM classes for redundancy, do my homework in between the break, and have it ready for my AM morning. And then I'd get the PM, and then I'd go home and do that. So it was a revolving door. Graduated in 3 months and joined the United States Navy. But I'm a high school dropout. I scored a 32 on my ACT. And I was the biggest waste of a human being you ever met because I didn't want it. I hated school. Then I went into Intel and graduated number 1 in my class and went to 3 C schools and graduated in the top 2% and got any billet that I wanted. So high school education, it has nothing to do with a degree. It has nothing to do with a piece of paper. It has to do with the person's ability to absorb, disseminate, process, and re-articulate what they've learned effectively. It's a very difficult thing to master. And I'm spending my entire life trying to figure it out. Folks, thanks for watching Don't Unfriend Me. You can go to thedumshow.com, buy yourself a cool shirt. Remember, we've got a bunch of cool shirts available. We have coffee.
Including the pot pie shirt.
The damn pot pie shirt.
The pot pie. Show a picture of the pot pie shirt.
I can't find it because it's way in there. I don't know where it's at. I'm looking for it right now. I know I have it, but it doesn't matter. Go to thedumshow.com, pick yourself up a shirt. Olivia and I are off for 2 days. We're going to enjoy it. We'll see you Monday with a recorded show and a live show. We may sprinkle something over the weekend, but thank you for being with us. Thank you for staying with us. We do appreciate it greatly. I will go out like I always do with the Veteran Crisis Hotline. I have a feeling it's not available. I need to re-download it. Let's check it out and see. Yep. I don't know what's going on. But don't play it. But I think what's happening is that I'm out of space on my computer, so it keeps deleting my files. I've got to go in and do a full cleaning of my entire computer. Thanks, folks, for watching. We will see you on Monday. God bless.
I'm David Boreanaz with the Cast of SEAL team.
Did it work?
It's trying to. Try one more time. This sometimes happens.
I heard it.
I know. It wants to go.
I'm David Boreanaz with the Cast the SEAL team, and we have an important message for returning vets.
There it
We
is.
want you to know if you're struggling to cope.
Good night, everybody.
There's help, and it's just a phone call away.
The Veterans Crisis Line is staffed with experienced professionals who know your struggles.
There's no greater sacrifice in service to our country. We're able to enjoy our freedoms because of it.
Your service is important. You are important. For vets and their families, the Veterans Crisis Line is here to help 24 hours a day. Please call